Chapter 5873. This old man with a high crown is exactly the creator of the ancient wood continent. At the beginning, the ancient wood continent was still barren. It was he who led the 8-star Zoman ancient wood sect, and opened up a large territory. He is also the most powerful person in Guma continent. I will definitely take you this time. Shenmu Wang stepped on the void, and looked at Wanlu in the wild core area, with greed in his eyes. The power of innate life reappears. In the eyes of King Shenmu, this must have something to do with Wanlu. Taking down Jian Wushuang is equivalent to opening Wanlu. The peeping and speculation of countless strong men. Jian Wushuang didn't know it at all. Although the bottom of my heart is prepared. But this time, he is about to face the strong. It is unprecedentedly powerful. The top of Longshan Mountain. Jian Wushuang and Wu Li stood side by side. This time, I must win. He clenched his fist. The purpose of coming to Guyua time and space is to become a tribulation realm and master the universe. He must win. Wu Li took a deep breath, but the divine power on his body began to change. The terrible divine power did not belong to him, but the tree man was controlling his divine body. Although you shouldn't ask, I still want to say, even if you go through the 5 tribulations at once, but there is no universe here, you can't create another one. This is indeed a big problem for ordinary people. The primitive universe bred in time and space is all in quantity. There is no primitive universe long ago. You can only refine the universe by yourself. This will take a long time. There is no time now. Jian Wushuang has exposed a lot this time, and he is not hiding anything at all. He turned to explain to Wu Li. I have a way to condense my original universe in a short period of time, and the growth of divine power can be achieved quickly, as long as I break through. Success in half a day. I will be able to reach the 5 tribulations realm. He is confident. Wu Li didn't say anything anymore, and directly exploded with the divine power injected into him by the treant, and his aura skyrocketed. Action! Wow! The two disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, Wu Lishan stood in front of Gula with a sword in his hand. After the transformation, Gula had a supernatural power of 1.3 million. The female emperor fell to the ground severely wounded, reluctant to live or die. Bru and the 4 great sons could not stop Gula's punch together. They all began to despair. Unexpectedly, there are still people who dare to come down from the top of the mountain at this time. You guys go. Bru was a little anxious at this moment. The original plan of this great elder was different at all. The original plan of the great elder was to make them stand up. If there is a possibility of winning, it is naturally the best. It's impossible. You can only ask Jian Wushuang to take Dan Bao away. Looking at it now, they have lost. Wu Li's face was pale, and a smile leaked in front of him, and he said, the universe is uncertain. We still have hope. You can't stop the time for a stick of incense. Bru shook his head. The great elder had just transmitted a message to him for the final fusion. But Bru needs too long. Unless Gula is sleeping in place and waiting for him, it is impossible to merge successfully. You can't rely on Wu Li in front of you. After Wu Li broke through again, his supernatural power was more than 800,000, and he already had the combat power of the 6 tribulations realm. But compared with Gula, it's just a drop in the bucket. The mayfly shakes the tree, and does not know what to do. Just let you see my true strength. Wu Li's voice fell, and his divine power increased again. His face was also pale and embarrassed. This is the inability of the divine body. That violent divine power has accumulated too much. It wasn't his own divine power, but now that it is used, it has a big backlash against him. But the tree man told him that as long as he had a breath, whether it was Dan Bao or Jian Wushuang, he could restore him to the peak. Otherwise he wouldn't fight like this. Gula was also bluffed by the people in front of him. He didn't care about it, but after feeling that Wu Li's divine power reached 1 million in an instant, he was a little uncomfortable. You are really difficult. Gula frowned, and rushed to Wu Li immediately. At this moment Jian Wushuang, who was hiding in the void, started his hand. He reached Li Sheng's side at a very fast speed. I'm sorry. Jian Wushuang let out a wicked smile. and directly took away all the 4 dragon from Li Sheng's side with a wave of one hand. Li Sheng gritted his teeth, but finally didn't make a move, just watching Jian Wushuang leave with the Dragon Ball. Gula, who had just rushed out halfway, found a strong aura fluctuating behind, and knew something was wrong. After seeing the Dragon Ball next to Li Sheng disappear, he was completely furious. Jian Wushuang, who was hiding in the void, was shocked by the breath. "You ant, I will let you die first." The furious Gula's supernatural power was still rising. A leaped and rushed to Jian Wushuang's face. Jian Wushuang immediately shouted toward the top of the mountain, "It's now!" Ha! Boom! Gula blasted a fist on an afterimage, and Jian Wushuang had already left. Before he could react, Wu Li rushed over. The 3-foot wooden sword can cut the sky. The wooden sword struck from the depths of the void, and the moment it pierced into the space, the entire infinite world was trembling. At this moment, Wu Li's supernatural power is as high as 1.3 million. Gula was stunned, and hurriedly used the sword with both hands. But when his hands touched the blade, his divine power continued to decline, shattered the void and pierced the space. How could the power of this sword make Gula stop? Wu Li shot again, several swords slashed out, but the divine power consumed was continuously recovered by the tree man. He was the only opponent who made Gula feel pressured. No one could do it before. In the distance, Bulu and others have begun to merge. When I felt Wu Li's breath, my heart was also extremely shocked. This time, maybe they can really win. And you don't need Jian Wushuang to win. The Great Elder is also paying attention to this battle. It's also incredible. He couldn't see through Jian Wushuang. Can't see through Wu Li. In his opinion, Wu Li's potential is not that strong. Maybe in this life, he can't jump out of the 5 tribulations realm. But with the current outbreak, Wu Li's future has begun to change. The 5 tribulations realm changed from a mountaintop to a starting point. This is the current change in Wu Li. Ha! The space shook, and Jian Wushuang had arrived in front of the Great Elder with 4 Dragon Balls. "Let's start." He put down the Dragon Ball. Yu reading www.akanshu.com and the 5 dragon around the Elder gathered together. The 9 dragon are all together. Before the start, the Elder took a last look at the situation outside and reminded, "Don't be under pressure. This time maybe Wu Li and Bulu will be able to solve the Gula." "This is the best." Jian Wushuang nodded. He wished that Wu Li and Bru would succeed. Then he has no worries. The Great Elder didn't say anything. He directly used his thought power to infuse the Dragon Ball. Bursting out a powerful breath, directly broke through the house, and flew into the sky. The rules of heaven and earth are instantly separated. The outside world can no longer see the situation here. End of this chapter. Chapter 5874. Jian Wushuang's figure floated unconsciously. His divine power and origin began to skyrocket. There is no of the supreme rule. He has no limits of any realm. Can practice crazy. Robbery. Jian Wushuang looked up at the sky. Then he said in a deep voice, "I just need to stop the rule immediately. I have to follow this robbery." Originally, according to the plan of the Great Elder, he didn't need to deal with the first difficulty of Tribulation Realm. But now he felt it unnecessary. The clouds gathered in the sky, from broken to condensed. An extremely dangerous catastrophe is brewing. The Shenmu King and others who were destroying the core of the infinite world were stunned. Suddenly found that the formation could not be destroyed. The entire infinite world is cut off from the outside world. It's that old guy. Shenmu looked embarrassed. Thinking of the Great Elder of the Balunga tribe. The world of infinity is the most special in the world suppressed by the Guma school. This time the holy meeting, the reason for choosing to be in the infinite world. In fact, there is another conspiracy. Otherwise, Gula won't be messed up. Go to clean up the Gula long ago. Although the robbers could not enter, it was nothing to destroy the formation for the sake of so many masters of the universe. It was the Guma faction that concealed it, so it didn't go to rescue. On the contrary, it adds to the fire. Their purpose is not to be practitioners. It's Gula. If anyone can defeat Gula, that's fine. The real goal is the 9 Dragon Balls. Go to open a treasure land. That treasure land has a relationship with Wanlu. All this is one bureau. From the beginning, it was linked together. Anyone can sit in the position of the saint. But the opportunity that Wan Lu opened was only once. As for why not get together the Dragon Ball by yourself? This is related to the oath in Dragon Ball. The dragon back then took an oath. Only the great elder of the Balunga tribe can open it. Gula is just a cover. What they want is to let Elder Balunda unlock the 9 dragon himself. Regardless of the purpose, which treasure will lead to, only the appearance of Jian Wushuang disrupted the layout of the Gumu sect. Now it is double happiness. In the eyes of King Shenmu, both benefits are related to Wanlu. Now he is bound to win. The supreme rule is isolated. That shows that Dragon Ball played a role. It is a pity that they have not yet entered the infinite world. This point made Shenmu Wang's heart a little unstable. Feeling a threat is slowly approaching. He thought this threat was in the infinite world. This is not the case. This threat comes from Bobby D. It's also just right. Just to give Jian Wushuang a delay. The bias of automobile transportation has come. Dragon Mountain. Jian Wushuang floated in the air, facing the first difficulty. This is the difficulty of hitting the tribulation realm. It's also a robbery. Is there really no need to stop? The great elder below hesitated, feeling that now is not the time to be a hero. He thought that Jian Wushuang didn't have to fight hard at all. Jian Wushuang faced this difficulty. His complexion was flat. He didn't feel any threat, and said calmly, I must take up this difficulty, otherwise I won't be able to master the time. Time? The great elder was stunned. Although I don't understand, the strength of this Jian Wushuang after breakthrough is related. Don't say anything. Jian Wushuang looked up at the clouds that gathered in the sky. Eyes are like waves, watching the past, and the clouds dissipate. Instead, a great light descended, covered him directly. The time rule also falls at a speed. For Jian Wushuang, this difficulty is as simple as drinking water. The clouds in the sky disappeared. The supreme rule of isolation is here again. The outside world can again see the situation below. Shenmu Wang and others just saw Jian Wushuang in the sky. This kid is hitting the tribulation realm? He is afraid that he is not crazy. And now he is attacking the tribulation realm. He is not afraid of Gula's destruction. King Shenmu first glanced at Elder Balunga, then looked at Gula, and said, Gula was stopped. Go and check if the one named Wu Li is related to Hengmu. There are more and more surprises now. Hengmu at the time seemed to have been involved in this battle. The treasures he had obtained from Hengmu made him regain his previous ambitions. He also had the confidence to reconcile with the 9-star Zongman Gu Yuejiao. How could a big man be subjugated to others? The ancient would Holy Land. Those 7 tribulation realm powerhouses who are still making trouble are already planning a storm. Now wait for an 8 tribulations realm great power to take the lead. The ancestor of the 8 tribulations realm of Stone Kingdom will soon come. At the same time, the powerful saboteurs of the major forces are also rushing. When the time comes, the Gumu faction can't fool them anymore. While waiting for others, they were also watching Jian Wushuang all the time. After a short interval, when I saw Jian Wushuang again, I was stunned to find that Jian Wushuang was hitting the Jia realm. Obviously, these people can't understand Jian Wushuang's operations. This kid doesn't think that he can defeat Gula by becoming a tribulation realm, right? Tianjiao is like this, always thinking that he can match everything. Wait, he will soon despair. Each of these 7 tribulation realm lords has more than 1 million divine powers. Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to it at all. Although I saw that Jian Wushuang could burst out in an instant, 800,000 divine power. I thought that that divine power did not belong to Jian Wushuang. Otherwise, why would you have to gather qi in advance? There is still a time limit. What if it breaks through to the robbery realm? They don't think Jian Wushuang can raise his supernatural power to 1 million in a short time. Not to mention how many treasures are needed. Just say that this time is getting too late. Behind these people, Lianqing stared at Jian Wushuang, who was assaulting the tribulation realm, and said secretly, Little guy, you have too many secrets. I hope you can survive this crisis. Refining stars is not like other Sanjia. Although I have known Jian Wushuang for a short time, I know the strength of Jian Wushuang the most. Dazzling again and again. Jian Wushuang is like the brightest star in the night sky. Maybe it will become a meteor. Maybe it will become the eternal sun and moon. No matter what, he is still optimistic about Jian Wushuang. He didn't move Jian Wushuang because of the power of life. If he needs this kind of life force, he only needs to say it, and someone will send it up. Jian Wushuang was able to survive this crisis. Same thing. If he needs it, Jian Wushuang will give it to him. So there is no need to go to this muddy water. Just watch it. Maybe Jian Wushuang will surprise everyone again. Jian Wushuang who hit the robbery realm. I didn't think about it. Instead, he entered into the rules of time with all his heart. Fusion with time becomes one. At the same time, it also left the mark of the supreme rule on the body. The avenue of time has taken shape. He has already started. In Moro time and space, or the time and space of the primitive universe. He is already in a robbery state. Only now he is in Guyu time and space. Chapter 5875. Did not notice the special relationship with the Emperor. It's just that the upper limit of origin and divine power has been improved a bit. The catastrophe is simple. And the most important thing is to condense the universe. One thought of the universe. This time the universe directly covers the entire infinite world. The movement was so loud that all the powerful people from the outside world were suppressed. He has directly become the Lord of the universe. Impossible. The universe is so easy to condense, even if he crosses the three tribulations at once, but does not even fall. The universe is condensed. This is different from the rules of Guyu time and space. The head teacher of the Gumu sect was also watching Jian Wushuang's breakthrough, and he reminded him loudly at this time. Maybe Jian Wushuang is not a practitioner of Guyu time and space at all. This sentence awakened everyone. You must have inquired about his fortune, but I have checked the time and space. Jian Wushuang is a reincarnated person, but he has never mentioned the memory of his previous life. Moreover, the reincarnated emperor can reach his level. I am afraid that Guyu time and space will not find one. The emperor has hundreds of thousands of divine powers. Whether it is from the long river of history, or the contemporary Guyu Ejiao. No one can compare with Jian Wushuang. After the head of the Guma school said that, it was indeed the case. They all speculated that Jian Wushuang might have come from the other 8 time and space. In the 9 great time and space, Guyu time and space is the weakest. The emperor here cannot be compared. In other time and space, there may be a figure like Jian Wushuang. The emperor is comparable to the 5 tribulations realm. Some people even suspect that Jian Wushuang came from the stars. Anyway, the more you guess, the bigger. Everyone felt that Jian Wushuang's identity was not simple. Don't do it now. Perhaps a certain big man will appear and pick up Jian Wushuang. Think of reincarnation as experience. It's also difficult for the imagination of these strong men. The more you guess, the higher. Just never thought that Jian Wushuang, the ultimate emperor who reversed the rules, could also appear downstream. In an infinite world, one thought of the universe completely let go, constantly expanding, until the entire infinite world is wrapped in it. This diameter is much larger than the original universe of the Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm. That's why the strong outsiders were so shocked. This is what happened after he performed the super-eternal change. Otherwise, his universe is at the consummation level, as big as the Lord of the 5 Tribulations realm universe. But after the super-eternal change, it's different. The super-eternal change was actually the source of the increase in the beginning. It's just that his divine power has increased the upper limit because of his breath. During the emperor period, his divine power also surpassed the power of the source. Therefore, I have been calculating my own combat power with divine power. It's different when it comes to the Lord of the universe. This time, his origin will completely surpass divine power. And super-eternal change, the original increase can reach 100-fold. The increase in supernatural power is only 50 times. The first robbery, the breath of his body was shocked. And at this moment his origin was already the pinnacle of the 5 tribulations realm. This has not yet crossed the catastrophe. The calamity of the supreme rule falls directly into the universe. But like a drop of water, it fell into the universe. Negligible. Those strong men who were watching him were all normal at this time. This time I'm not surprised. They felt that Jian Wushuang wouldn't even have a problem in crossing the 5 tribulations. This is just the first tribulation. But while waiting for the catastrophe to pass, Jian Wushuang's increased source was stunned for all of them. Jian Wushuang couldn't help shaking himself. That violent power kept surging up. What? He raised his head and roared, thinking about the universe, once again being true. The origin is expanded again. It's a pity that this place is so big. Otherwise his original universe could expand once again. After the baptism of the Supreme Rule, the number of black holes in the original universe also skyrocketed again. Every time you cross the catastrophe, it will make the source strong. The same is true for the calamity of the divine body. Liang Jie treated his 800,000 divine body like a tickle. There is no harm. Instead, it improved a wave of basic supernatural power. Make him very comfortable. The basic divine power has also come to 450,000. An increase of 50,000 at a time. This is already pretty good. Second calamity. Jian Wushuang spent all his thoughts on the origin universe. There is not too much attention to measuring the robbery. It was almost the same as the first tribulation, without any threat. He just got through it easily. The origin universe is once again true. The number of black holes has also doubled. It seems that the universe that my emperor thought was complete is not the same as after the tribulation realm. The original universe will not change anymore. Unexpectedly, it continues to expand and become stronger. It has now doubled. There are a total of 20,000 black holes. The third tribulation. This time, his universe will become the real universe. It is also a sign that he has reached the Lord of the universe. At this moment he was extremely excited. Coming to Guyu time and space is for the Lord of the universe. The goal is about to be reached now. He is more excited than anyone else. Come on. Witness with me. He went up with one hand to welcome the third calamity. Even though those scattered robbery realms from the outside world are bluffing, at the same time, he laughed at Jian Wushuang. Even if you become the lord of the 5 tribulations realm universe, you will be besieged and seized by a group of mighty powers. But in the bottom of my heart, they are very jealous of Jian Wushuang. Why is Jian Wushuang so powerful? Originally, Jian Wushuang was a senior to a junior. But seeing Jian Wushuang's constant strength, he was already approaching them. Be jealous. Lamented that he had become a sabotage. And there was no opportunity for improvement. But it has witnessed Jian Wushuang's strength step by step. The third calamity has begun. As long as the condensed universe is summoned to the real space, this kid will be the master of the universe. Damn it, if he pretended to be, how could he condense such a perfect universe ahead of time? It's really lucky. It's a meteor after all. Many people still mocked coldly. Without even realizing it, in Jian Wushuang's original universe, there is a super existence that can truly end the 9 great time and space. Origin universe. Tianqing Mountain. Weiss stood in front of his manor, holding a scepter in one hand, and watching Jian Wushuang cross the robbery behind the other. Such a big universe, it's not so easy to pull back to reality. Weiss chuckled. You reading www.akanshu.com. The third robbery fell. Jian Wushuang originally thought it would be a little different, but when he fell on him, he didn't feel any change. The original universe began to vibrate, and in the end it just doubled the number of black holes in the universe, reaching around 50,000 black holes in Le. The base divine power has also risen to 600,000. But this is not the point. His universe did not become real. This is the key. How is this possible? Jian Wushuang panicked. The strong from the outside world was stunned for a moment, and then started to comment. End of this chapter. Chapter 5876. I knew that he was so against the sky would accept him, so dumbfounded now. The universe cannot be condensed into reality, it is a bubble. An old man in the 7 tribulations realm looked very comfortable, and said with a strange yin and yang aura. You can't say that. Jian Wushuang is also the #1 emperor in the entire time and space. By choice, he has the innate vitality and can maintain his peak state all the time. So isn't he a special life? No, special beings don't need to cross the catastrophe. Jian Wushuang in the infinite world, but his heart is cold. The great elder of the Belunga tribe was also unbelievable. Although he doesn't know much about the Lord of the universe. But common sense is still understood. Seeing that Jian Wushuang had survived the 3 tribulations, but failed to turn the universe into reality. Also understand that it may have failed. Under Dragon God Mountain, Gula hadn't noticed what was happening on the mountain. It just feels like the infinite world has changed colors. I didn't think it was special. Instead, the battle with Wu Li made him a little excited. It's just that Wu Li's divine power is constantly declining. Blue, the time for a stick of incense has passed. Haven't you merged yet? Wu Li couldn't hold it anymore. The supernatural power the tree man gave him has fallen to 1.2 million. It's not Gula's opponent at all now. But he had to hold the opponent, and had to fight head-to-head with Gula. Otherwise, the other party will go to trouble with Brew. The integration of Brew's side has also reached the most critical moment. He didn't answer Wu Li, but stared at Wu Li extremely firmly. I'll give you 10 breaths again. Wu Li forcibly endured the backlash, and once again forcibly increased his divine power. Tree people are also constantly injecting divine power. Otherwise, Wu Li would have finished. The divine power injected is completely different from the divine power stimulated by oneself. It is no longer possible to distinguish between congenital and acquired. It's like a well, and there will be a steady stream of spring water from the ground. The current Wu Li is just a dry well, but someone pours water from a river into his well. How could he not be uncomfortable? The body is almost destroyed by the tree man. Can you still improve? Gula found that Wu Li's divine power had risen to a level again, somewhat surprised. Back to 1.3 million. He didn't think there was any fun this time. It was a little jealous of Wu Li. Gathering chi with one hand, a wave of light rushed out. He followed Guangbua and rushed towards Wu Li. He suddenly wanted to resolve the battle quickly, because Bruce is still fusing. In case something happens, and it is overturned by these people, that's not good. Although Gula was waved ahead, once he made up his mind, the person he wants to defeat must die. Wu Li was also bewildered by the unexpected attack. Hurriedly held the sword to split, and got the light wave condensed by divine power. But Gula had already arrived in front of him at this time, placed one hand in front of Wu Li, and the light waves condensed at close range directly blasted on Wu Li's face. Boom! Wu Li's body was blasted back quickly. The divine power just mentioned began to waver again. But Gula's supernatural power is constantly rising. It has reached 1.35 million. Now Wu Li completely imagined Jian Wushuang's words. After the transformation, the frozen demon race has improved a lot. On the way back, Gula appeared behind him ahead of time, and directly blocked his blasted body with a punch. This punch directly caused Wu Li's divine body to crack. The ascended divine power began to languish rapidly. My lord, if you want to die with 9 breaths, you won't be able to resist 10 breaths. Gula sneered, and his arm directly strangled Wu Li's neck. The other hand was constantly bombarding Wu Li's back. Wu Lilian couldn't spit out blood. A hole was cut in his chest. The physical body is okay, and there is a hole that can recover quickly. But there was a hole in the divine body, and it was over. This is equivalent to his dry well sealed. The divine power directly began to decline. Even 1 million can't be maintained. It's over, Wu Li said secretly. The tree man was also panicked at this time. Unexpectedly, this time it was really a big game. You can only use that trick. Shuren's voice sounded in Wu Li's mind. Wu Li gritted his teeth, knowing that there was no other choice now. If he didn't perform that trick, he died. What was lost was just a treasure. If you are not willing, you will lose 2 lives. 1 corpse, 2 lives. They are finished, Bulu will be finished, and Dragon God Mountain will disappear. Jian Wushuang? Thinking of Jian Wushuang, Wu Li hesitated. After such a long time, he felt that Jian Wushuang should be about to break through. Fight! The aura on Wu Li's body suddenly changed, and a ghost fell from the sky. The catkins flutter, and the power is infinite. Hum. A sound of resonance from heaven and earth sounded, shook the entire infinite world. Gula, let you, a frog at the bottom of the well, see the real fear in this world. After Wuli finished speaking, he quickly lifted his figure back. Only a sapling was left on the spot. The sapling of that class is constantly growing. A life force is also erupting. That is the life force released by the tree man. Let that sapling keep growing. A grass. It can cut the sun, the moon and the stars. And it can also give birth to all things in the universe. Hum. In the blink of an eye, the sapling turned into a towering giant tree. After a breath of time, he reached the realm of a catastrophe. Between the 3 breaths, his supernatural power broke 1,000,000. That terrifying power is still skyrocketing. What is this? Gula didn't dare to be careless and quickly backed away. But he seemed to have entered a maze, unable to escape the encirclement of catkins. Giant willow grows. Divine power gathered to 1,4,000,000. Countless catkins began to wrap the Gula. Gula also felt the terrifying power. Never. 1,4,000,000 supernatural powers. This is enough to make him seriously injured. This time you can't resist hard. Even though he was fast enough, he still couldn't break free of that restraint. The sapling grows into a giant willow, overlapping with the phantom. After the Gula was completely restrained, there was a sound that shook the world. Rumble. The goodness of the entire Dragon God World car was turned into ruins. Yu reading www.utkanshu.com. There are only peaks left on Longshan Mountain. Below it is a big hole with no bottom. Gula's figure also disappeared. Wuli panted heavily, already running out of strength. After the breath calmed down, Danbao rushed towards Wuli quickly. Seeing Danbao coming over, Wuli laughed and said, "Fortunately I have you, otherwise I will really lose out this time." Touched Danbao's round head and laughed. Danbao could only touch Wuli's knee with his hand, and grabbed Wuli's thigh, and began to recover from Wuli's injury. End of this chapter. Chapter 58-77. A warm current enters. Not only Wuli was restored, the Shuren also felt a familiar breath, and when he looked at Danbao, there was some greed in his eyes. Danbao's face was startled at this time, and suddenly he felt a pair of eyes were watching him, and there was an aura that made him fear in those eyes. Danbao backed away frightened and pointed at Wuli. Wuli was very surprised. He didn't know what the Shuren was thinking, or why Danbao had to retreat, and seeing Danbao's pale complexion must have seen something. Just when he was about to turn his head to look, a speed of light directly penetrated his chest. The speed of light followed Wuli's chest and rushed towards Danbao. At this moment, Bru completely transformed into a super soldier of the Palunga tribe. With a little tiptoe, he flashed directly in front of Danbao, raised his hand violently, and directly shook the beam away. Wuli slowly turned around, seeing the person behind him as he fell. Gula, the other party is still alive, but there are also some wounds on the body. The tail is cut off. Standing on the only mountain peak, Gula pointed to the fallen Wuli and said resentfully, "Damn human race, I want to kill you all." Several light beams burst out from the fingertips and rushed towards Wuli again. Bulu didn't intend to look at it. His figure flashed again, rescued Wuli who had fallen, and raised his hand again to bounce off Gula's attack at will. "Take him back to the holy mountain, just leave it to me here." Bulu squinted at Gula, and handed the sleeping Wuli to Danbao. Wuli was now gone. Only half a breath left. A little carelessness may fall. Even if he recovers, he must go to the top of Dragon God Mountain in the enchantment. Danbao resisted Wuli's huge body and reminded, "Elder Baloo, be careful." Bru nodded, and then confessed again. "Tell the elder, don't make senseless sacrifices, I can win this battle." Bru's voice was full of air, with absolute confidence. Danbao nodded, without saying anything, and returned to the top of Dragon God Mountain through the barrier. Just coming back, I found Jian Wushuang sitting decadently on a fallen waste rock. The great elder also stood lonely on the side. What happened? Danbao gently put down Wuli and looked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang didn't answer, and looked at the great elder again. However, the elder motioned not to speak, and pointed to Wu Li, asking him to recover Wu Li's injury first. On the other hand, he walked towards Jian Wushuang and said, "Maybe some things are just as destined by God. But I don't believe this." Jian Wushuang shook his head. The great elder of the Belunga tribe, however, leaked a wise look, and then said, "Then do you believe that there is an in this world?" These words awakened Jian Wushuang. He still has Weiss. After the 3 tribulations, he couldn't control the universe. You can ask Weiss about this matter. I believe it. He seemed to have found confidence again, and stood up directly. The elder smiled and said, "At the beginning, Lord Dragon God, he was a god. He once told me that if I fall, the Belunga clan will be destroyed, but I don't believe it." At the end of hearing, he was stunned in embarrassment, and he didn't know how to explain to the other party. After thinking for a moment, he patted the shoulder of the elder and reminded, "Actually, you don't need to die. Now you don't need to stimulate your potential. And if you really don't want to live anymore, you might as well integrate with Bulu, so that you won't die. Can make brew even stronger." Fusion, a word to wake up the dreamer. This time it was the turn of the elder to think about life. However, Jian Wushuang didn't have this leisurely time, and his figure jumped into his own mind power universe. Tianqing Mountain. Peak. Weiss, you only think of me at this time. It seems that I have no place in your heart. Weiss covered his mouth and smiled. Jian Wushuang didn't have time to fight the opponent, haha, and asked quickly, "I'm already in the 3 tribulations realm, but I can't grasp the universe. Where is the problem?" Simple. In order to let Jian Wushuang know how good he is, Weiss also missed a hand this time. At one point of the scepter, a miniature starry sky was condensed. Jian Wushuang was taken aback. "Simply explain to you. You are too anxious, eager to perfect the universe. But such a perfect universe is just a matter of paper. After all, it is not the real universe, so you have not seen the essence of the universe." Weiss' finger pointed the universe evolving and the starry sky continued. "But no matter if you are lucky, being able to draw a perfect universe on a piece of paper is now helping you." Jian Wushuang was stunned when he heard it. Now he can't condense the real universe, so why did he say it helped him? Could it be said that in the future, I will use one thought of the universe? Use a piece of paper in the dojo. That's not a joke in the whole time and space. He can't afford to lose this person. Not to be ashamed of Teacher Schwani. In this state he still went to Teacher Schwani. Isn't it shameful? Since you can't control the universe in the 3rd calamity, you can do it a few more times. And when your strength becomes a little stronger, you will be able to master the universe when it matches your original universe. Jian Wushuang's eyes flickered, and he said in surprise, "A few more calamities? But he can't feel the supreme rule now. How to cross the robbery?" He immediately posed the problem. When Wes heard this, he chuckled and said, "This is even easier. Simple." A drop of sweat leaked from Jian Wushuang's forehead, feeling that Weiss was bragging more than him. If the supreme rule is simple, everyone is in the 9 tribulations realm. How can this kind of thing be simple? But he hasn't waited for him to read these words carefully. In the sky, layers of robbery clouds condensed again. This time he really believed it. Anything. He raised his head and glanced at Jian in the sky, then glanced at Wes. Even the highest rules can be controlled. This is the true God. Now even if Weiss let him go to the 9th calamity, he believed it. Too frightening. Even the highest rules can be controlled. True God. Jian Wushuang raised his mother's finger, then jumped up. Begin to welcome the 4th robbery. The strong outsiders found that Jian had condensed again, and they were all stunned. They cannot see the existence of Weiss. Naturally it is not clear what happened. Only after seeing the decadent Jian Wushuang, and the great elder of the Belunga tribe, they had a few conversations, and their confidence skyrocketed. Returning to the universe of one thought once again, it only took a while to trigger the 4th culpa. But Jian Wushuang didn't master the real universe. So why did he begin to cross the calamity? Everyone can't believe it. Around the sky, no one of the tribulation realm spoke. Just now he was sure that Jian Wushuang was over. But now I can only watch Jian Wushuang cross the 4th calamity. At this time, some people didn't believe in evil and said, "Let's go and see, it violates the supreme rule." The fourth kulpa is definitely not ordinary, and maybe it will be gone after a while. End of this chapter. Chapter 5878. Close your crow's mouth. Many people looked viciously. If Jian Wushuang dies, what good will it do to them? Jian Wushuang, who is not dead and wasteful, is good for them. The dead Jian Wushuang was as uncomfortable as his own father died. After all, they all counted on Jian Wushuang's innate life force. Lianxing and Tonghe Jianxian were also excited when they saw Jian Wushuang preparing to cross the tribulation again. "Little guy, I knew you could." Lianxing clenched his fist, with light in his eyes. Although the relationship between Tonghe Jianxian and Jian Wushuang is not close, they are both Jian Xiu, but they cherish each other. In a blink of an eye, Jian Wushuang is now comparable to him, the master of the universe in the half-step 7 tribulations realm, with a divine power in his early millionths, is almost the same as the Gula who hasn't transformed. Now Jian Wushuang, who has crossed the 4 tribulations, has reached 700,000 basic divine power. The 4th calamity was passed in a flash. The rest is the supreme tribulation. Everyone squeezed a cold sweat for him. I hope he can get through it successfully. There are still many people who worry that Jian Wushuang won't pass, and they will be finished again. The 4th calamity came crashingly. There is an essential gap with the first 3 calamities. This time Jian Wushuang was able to truly feel that powerful catastrophe. It is like an iceberg falling into his universe. Still trivial. Jian Wushuang was also a little worried at first, but now it looks like that. 4 tribulation realm. He clenched his fist, trying to manipulate the origin universe, but found that it was still a bit difficult. This is just the universe of mind power. Like Weiss said, it's just a piece of paper. But he can't even manipulate paper, let alone turn this piece of paper into a real universe. Prepare for the 5th calamity. Weiss looked up at Jian Wushuang and nodded. The supreme rule operates again, gathering the 5th calamity. Ancient wood shrine outside. It seems there is no pressure. Many people breathed a sigh of relief at this time. The 4th calamity has passed, and he still can't grasp the real universe. It seems that he is going to cross the 5th calamity. It's almost the same as expected, but his strength has increased somewhat quickly. Everyone nodded. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang's surface strength is now they can deal with it. Jian Wushuang changed back to normal. His supernatural power was only 700,000. The strong ones outside naturally looked down on it. But after Jian Wushuang performed the super-eternal change, his supernatural power was 1.4 million. This combat power is enough to make the ordinary 7 tribulations realm jealous. Now that the basic divine power is 700,000, that is not the limit. Jian Wushuang had not absorbed the divine treasure yet. He had such a high base divine power. Once the bones of Dongjun were swallowed, the basic divine power easily broke 1 million. Now is not the time for him to calculate his own combat power. The next 5th calamity is his starting goal. After this time, he hopes to successfully control the universe. Let's start. The breath rose suddenly. The amount of robbery was the first to come. The divine power of 700,000, resisting the 5th calamity, is not too strenuous. But the pressure has already come. The 4 tribulations realm has 700,000 divine powers, which are already comparable to the 5 tribulations realm. It's normal to go through the 5th calamity, but it won't work in the 6th calamity. The 4th supreme calamity increased the number of black holes in his original universe to more than 70,000. This time I am afraid it can reach 100,000. The robbery that came into being, descended from the sky, converged directly to his original universe. This time it feels to him. It is no longer an object falling into the universe. Instead, I felt a storm condensed in the universe. Jian Wushuang also started to get serious. This power is actually eating away. He suddenly became angry. He is the only one who devours others, but he still has the power to devour him. This has to teach this power a lesson. He came directly to the core of the storm. really felt that the storm was absorbing the power in his original universe. With his hands open, he can't manipulate the power of the entire universe. And he can't manipulate these more than 70,000 black holes? The power of 70,000 black holes gathered in the body. Jian Wushuang's origin uttered a hum. His current source power is no longer comparable to the 7 tribulations realm. Instead, it reached the 8 tribulations realm level. This is because Guyu time and space is dominated by divine power. If converted to the original Mora time and space, it is not a problem that his current source power is comparable to the 7 tribulations realm. The power of 70,000 black holes burst out an unprecedented breath, dispersed the entire storm directly. The supreme calamity collapsed abruptly. Whether it was a strong person watching from the outside world, or the great elder of Dragon God Mountain, they were all shocked. The outside world exploded. They could see that Jian Wushuang could survive the 5 tribulations in succession, but they had never thought that Jian Wushuang would be able to force the 5th supreme tribulation to disperse. This is the power that destroys the supreme rule. It's incredible. Even Wes leaked a surprised expression and whispered to himself, "It seems I didn't pick the wrong person. He has a talent for destruction." Only Jian Wushuang felt that this was normal. Not much. He hadn't paid attention to the 5th calamity. He just wants to quickly master the universe. 5 calamities come down. The number of his black holes skyrocketed to 100,000. A universe, 100,000 black holes. If it is 10,000, it is perfect, and a super universe is born. Then the condensed universe of 100,000 black holes is the ultimate universe. It has reached the limit of rule writing. I am afraid that the who made the rules could not think of future generations, who could surpass the rules. The beginning of 1 yuan, 100,000 heavens. This is a truth that has been understood since childhood. Now he once again verified what the limit is, and what is beyond the rule. Wow. Raising his hand slightly, he can easily manipulate the ups and downs of the universe. In the past, the universe was dead, unable to move at all. Now he wants to let it move whatever he wants. Let me see what you really look like. He condensed the origin, and began to evolve the universe into a real universe. Jian Wushuang was stunned. Failed again. Is this endless? Even in the 5 tribulations realm, they couldn't control their own universe. He has collapsed. Though strong from the outside world, is also about to collapse. This is the 5th calamity. This kid hasn't controlled the universe yet. Doesn't it take him to the 9 calamities to control it? Crow's mouth, it's really going to the 9th calamity, will be killed by a headshot. The 5 tribulations realm has 800,000 divine powers, and the advantage is still mine. A strong man in the 7 tribulations realm comforted himself. Then the 7 tribulation realm powerhouses began to face reality. Emperor Jian Wushuang could burst out 800,000 supernatural powers. It doesn't matter where the divine power comes from, in case it can break out. Now doubled again, it's 1.6 million. The 7 tribulation realm powerhouses gathered here are not ordinary people. Divine power is more than 1.5 million, and there are more than 2 million superpowers. Chapter 5879. But their supernatural power is dead. Jian Wushuang is alive, still getting stronger. Now that the universe hasn't been in control, it's so powerful. If you control the universe, it's worth it. Jian Wushuang's face was black at this time, and he didn't know what to do. Looking down at Weiss, the other party nodded to him and reminded loudly, "As long as you have confidence, my 9th calamity can help you draw it down." This sentence made him tremble with fright, and hurriedly waved his hand. No, 1 more time is enough. He also has limits. After crossing the 6th calamity at most, he won't have the strength to break through. 5 calamities at a time is his bottom line. The limit is 6 culpas. Then start. Weiss stretched out his scepter and moved a little towards the sky, and the robbery clouds gathered again. Jian Wushuang also began to take it seriously, taking advantage of such a short time, quickly swallowed all the divine treasures in the mustard seeds. His origin has always been in the limit state, and he can't improve at all. Every calamity caused his origin to change once, becoming stronger, faster than swallowing treasures. However, the increase in divine power is indeed very small. Now the basic supernatural power has reached 800,000. 5 tribulations realm 800,000. In the eyes of ordinary people, it is the peak and the limit. But in his eyes, this is not eating enough. Quickly swallowed all the treasures of divine power, except for Dongjun's bones. After all the treasures he had obtained in the infinite world had been collected, he discovered that it had added hundreds of supernatural powers. It seems that those treasures are too rubbish. It takes at least 800,000 to complete the 6th calamity. If you want to be stable, you have to increase your divine power again. The power of the beast god. 3 times. His divine power began to soar, breaking 1,000,000 in an instant. The origin of the beast god soldier was also scrubbed once, reaching the level of the 5 tribulations realm. Now you can use 5 times the power of the beast without armor. But he felt that 1,000,000 supernatural powers were enough to deal with the 6th calamity. If 1,000,000 divine powers can't pass the 6th calamity, it would be too ridiculous. Liang Jia penetrated his divine body, leaving a lot of injuries. This was the first time he was injured during the robbery. The life force was running, and it was restored to its peak in an instant. The amount of robbery can be considered to have passed steadily. The strong outsiders breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing that innate life force again, these people are even crazier. The most important thing is the 6th supreme calamity. His Hunyuan stones are enough. It depends on what level his origin can excite. Without the increase of the real universe, he is under a lot of pressure. Cold talk from the beginning. Come on so far. They are like Jian Wushuang. From the first robbery to the 6th robbery. Every face is serious. He said silently, pass. 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 For a time, the whole holy place could hear the deep voices. The Shenmu King and others, who were still destroying the origin of the infinite world formation, were also very anxious. I was afraid that Jian Wushuang would not be able to cross over, and would become a useless person. Now Jian Wushuang is also considered, and has high hopes. Facing the 6th calamity, he had great confidence. The universe is divided, and countless forces gather. Several holes were blasted out of this piece of paper in an instant. The 6th calamity is indeed not simple. This time he felt the horror of the supreme rule. As long as it is a robbery, no matter how powerful it is, it will be suppressed by the supreme rules. No one can avoid it. Which goddess fell under the catastrophe of Guyu time and space? That is to say, the gods can escape this bondage. Come on. Jian Wushuang opened his hands. Although there was no increase in the real universe. But he has an increase in the universe. It also gave him a lot of improvement in strength. Manipulating the entire Yian universe to deal with the 6th culpa. It is also his success or failure. The gathering storms shuttled to every part of the universe. The wings on his back kept shaking open, rescuing his own universe everywhere. The Hunyuan stone is constantly being consumed to restore the universe. But its universe is too big, 10 times as much as the master of the universe, at the peak of the normal 5 tribulations realm. Consumption of mixed stone is also more. Fortunately, the current universe is condensed with thought power. And he can also use thought power to repair the universe. Boom. Another secret realm began to collapse. It is still the most important Tianqing mountain in his universe. Wes is on it. He rescued from below, and Wes was basking in the sun and drinking small wine. It was in sharp contrast with him. No way, this is the gap. Who makes his strength impossible? The water disaster of the 6th calamity, the origin of the universe, completely turned into the sea. There is not even a piece of land. There are only 5 secret realms suspended. 100,000 black holes. Only 5 secret realms. Obviously it was not enough. What this catastrophe tested was the support of his universe. This catastrophe can't be sustained. How to conceive a stronger life? It is better to die. No, I can't be too busy alone. Jian Wushuang shook his head, knowing the current situation very clearly. If one person can't do it, then 10,000. He still has a clone. He is extremely powerful in all things, and can breed countless clones. Wow! 1.2, 2.4, 4.8. In just a few breaths, tens of thousands of clones appeared, and they ran around to rescue in an instant, stabilize the black holes, and fix the timeline of the connection. This is time to open up the universe. The disorder of space is because of time. Time and space just need to be steady. Then the problem is not big. The time Jian Wushuang is building now is not the time to comprehend it before, but to establish the time that belongs to his original universe. This is completely different. There must be light in this world. Jian Wushuang raised his hand and pointed, and the huge sun at the center of the universe was instantly extinguished. Only in the darkness can the existence of light be confirmed. The world has changed from white to black. From black to white again. Yin and yang have been formed, and what is left is everything. One is divided into two for yin and yang. 2 begets 3, and 3 begets everything. Time and space, there are clones to stabilize. What he has to do is to completely build his own universe. The 5 secret realms are raised at the same time. Take Tianqing Mountain as the core. In an instant, the entire universe was completely stabilized. The water disaster of the 6th calamity was also solved. At this moment, his universe became more and more real. Call, with a heavy breath, made the sword move. He can feel the breath from the universe. The first life is about to be born. In his own universe, Jian Wushuang is omnipotent and knows everything. In a flash, he has reached the depths of the ocean floor. He had a trace of life force with his own eyes, and he condensed a strand of plant-like organisms with life. The first life is a special life, not a reproducible ethnic group. This is normal. Now it is difficult for him to let him create a race that can multiply, but being able to appear special lives, then it means that one's own universe has come true. End of this chapter. Chapter 5880. He has also become the coveted lord of the universe. 6 Tribulations Realm. Jian Wushuang exhaled deeply and he did it. Raising his hand to make a fist, in his dojo, the increase in his original power reached its peak. The core swordsmanship broke out with countless sword sounds. That power that can destroy the dryness and decay is enough to kill the 7 Tribulations Realm. Now he himself doesn't know how powerful his combat power is. It's time to go out and solve everything. Master of the universe Jian Wushuang. The powerful outsiders also felt the oppression from Jian Wushuang. His divine power is obviously only 800,000. How can the strength he showed when he just made a fist make me feel terrified? That is his origin. Soon there was a great power in the 7 Tribulations Realm, and he noticed the special origin of Jian Wushuang. The power of the source surpasses the divine power. 100,000 black holes. At the beginning, Qishan's peak universe had only 100,000 black holes. The Qi Qishan majored in the origin of time and space, not a divine power. In the ancient moon time and space, the master of the universe in the 8 Tribulations Realm, there are probably not 100,000 black holes in the original universe. Speaking of the origin alone, Jian Wushuang could already disregard the entire Guyu time and space. But the supernatural power is far worse. Break through 10,000 laws with one force. His strong origin does not mean that his divine power is strong. The power of the origin is comparable to the top powerhouse of the 7 Tribulations Realm in Guyu's time and space. When converted into divine power, there are more than 1.5 million. Of course, this is just his normal state. Once the super-eternal change is performed, plus the blessing of the original universe. That's not good. Great Elder, please also use Dragon Ball to shield the sky from the outside world. There is no need to shield the highest rule. Jian Wushuang fell to the top of Dragon God Mountain. The whole person's temperament and breath have undergone tremendous changes. The Great Elder couldn't see through Jian Wushuang anymore. He could only see that his divine power was only 800,000. But it is not clear at all about the source that has just been strong. It's easy. The Great Elder once again urged 9 Dragon to isolate the infinite world. Jian Wushuang raised his hand, his palm moved. The huge universe began to shrink. From covering the entire infinite world to the size of a palm, it was just a moment. Looking at his original universe, Jian Wushuang's mouth leaked a smile. After waiting too long, he finally did it at this moment. When he was in control of Jidao, he looked up at the stars, still looking forward to the Lord of the Universe. Now he did it. And he is also the master of the universe in the Six Tribulations realm. He is very close to his goal. The teacher made a promise to meet in the future. It's coming soon. And he is no longer afraid of extinction. It is also time to return and eradicate life. Everything happens soon. I thought I had to be among the willows before I could attack the tribulation realm. I didn't expect it to be so fast. Hold the palm. The origin of the universe enters the body. You can accept your own universe? The great elder was extremely shocked. Although he was not the Lord of the universe, he knew from the memory of inheritance that the Lord of the human race. Only by reaching the Eight Tribulations realm can one be able to accept one's own universe. Jian Wushuang was able to do it in the Six Tribulations realm. It's incredible. No wonder it cut him off from the infinite world. Otherwise, the sensation will be even greater. And it will expose one's own cards. Jian Wushuang also pleaded at this moment. Elder, please help me keep this matter secret. After all, it is a whole card and cannot be easily exposed. This is natural. The elder nodded. It's just that the appearances vicissitudes again. The hand controlling Dragon Ball was also shaking. Now the life force is not enough. Great elder. He looked at the wise man in front of him, with admiration in his heart. This time, he could attack the tribulation realm ahead of time, and also be able to reach the Sixth Tribulation realm in one fell swoop. But it all depends on the great elder, holding his life to fight. Fortunately, he has vitality and can help the great elder to recover. Just when he stepped forward to help the great elder recover, the other party shook his head. It's useless, my lifespan has come to an end. No matter how much life force, I can't survive. This is my end. The elder shook his head and stopped Jian Wushuang's help. Jian Wushuang opened his mouth. When he wanted to say something, he didn't insist on thinking of something. Maybe it really is dead. It is meaningless to live any longer. The will has been wiped out. What is the meaning of living in the flesh? Wow. The outside world saw that the infinite world was blocked again, and thought that Jian Wushuang was going to survive the 7 tribulations. After the great elder removed and saw Jian Wushuang had successfully broken through, they were all relieved. Jian Wushuang in the 6 tribulations realm, their single-on-one has no advantage. Don't talk about the 7 tribulations realm. At that time, I am afraid that only the master of the universe in the 8 tribulations realm could capture Jian Wushuang. Crossing 6 calamities at a time, the first person to come back and forth between ancient and modern times. Liangxing's eyelids throbbed, thinking of what I said to Jian Wushuang back then. But I didn't find it would be confirmed so quickly. This is only a few years. He has already reached the 6 tribulations realm. Even if someone said that Jian Wushuang could reach the 8 tribulations realm, I'm afraid someone would believe it. Amazing everyone again and again. There is nothing impossible to do. Many 7 tribulation realms are now starting to raise money in the bottom of their hearts. Ahem, everyone let me mention it, said an extremely powerful 7 tribulation realm expert. Jian Wushuang, this little brother, although has vitality, he is also his own. Don't force it. We have to exchange it for the same value. Hey, that's what I think. When we go in, we also have to talk and talk to others. This is the glory of our Gumu continent. I think this fellow Taoist will also give us a face. Yep, many people see that the direction of the wind has changed, and one by one has changed faces. I didn't think about going to besiege Jian Wushuang again. Instead, I was going to discuss with Jian Wushuang to exchange his life force. Of course, there are also some radicals. These 7 tribulations realm. I don't want to spend money, but the life force also wants it. Then you can only grab it. Outside the formation of the infinite world, the strong man of the ancient wood school also hesitated. But Shenmu Wang did not change his mind. Jian Wushuang had reached the 6 tribulations realm, and he was not his opponent at all. Why bother to reason? The truth is for the strong. For the weak, there is only force. In the infinite world, This time Jian Wushuang broke through the 6 tribulations, and it only took 3 hours. It hasn't been a long time yet. It's time to solve Gula. Jian Wushuang moved his eyes and nodded at the elder. Before the great elder sent him out, he directly rushed through the dragon god's barrier. The barrier that can block millions of divine powers is like thin paper. When I came to the bottom of the mountain, I realized that there was no place to stand. After Wu Li was recovered, he played again. Bru became a super soldier with the supernatural power of 1/4 million. The two besieged Gula together. It even got the upper hand. Chapter 5881. He doesn't seem to be needed anymore. Jian Wushuang was hiding in the depths of the void. No one could find him. Only the strong from outside can see him. This is because of the formation. Once the formation is broken by the Shenmu King, he wants to leave. The 8 Tribulations realm powerhouse comes, and it is difficult to stop him. The current Gura's divine power has stabilized at 1/45 million. When he first transformed, there were only 1/3 million. Now the more war is getting stronger. The 3 people are fighting, and it's time for selflessness. Each is injured. He can't stand it anymore. Wu Li's 3-foot sword, a Hunyuan slash, directly split Gula's body into 2. Bru chased and hit the upper body. Wu Li chased after herself. Both of them have already cooperated. Wu Li's swordsmanship became more sophisticated, and his divine power was extremely stable. This is also thanks to Dan Bao. With Dan Bao's healing, Wu Li was not afraid to go back. Have a good experience of the power of 1,000,000 supernatural powers. But under the circumstances that he kept fighting, the divine power from the outside was also constantly absorbed by him. Although it is still 5 tribulations, but his supernatural power has reached an astonishing 1,000,000. Coupled with the divine power injected by the tree man, his current divine power can also be maintained at more than 1/3 million. Has the combat power of the 7 tribulations realm. Below, there was a figure in the dark pit. After Jian Wushuang saw that figure, he moved behind him. Brother Li Sheng. That figure is Li Sheng. The female emperor has disappeared, but the aura is still there. She should have escaped. After Bru broke out, the empress took the opportunity to escape. Only Li Sheng dared to stay, because no matter which side wins, Li Sheng is the beneficiary. He who watched the game was also the most tortured. At this time, I was shocked when I heard Jian Wushuang's voice. After turning around to see Jian Wushuang, he just breathed a sigh of relief and said anxiously, "Why don't you go and help? Take the opportunity to solve him." Back, Jian Wushuang was taken aback when he heard this and asked, "Isn't he already transformed? What else can he have? If you really have something to do, why bother to drag it? It's been 3 hours now. What makes Gula so bearable? Rather than being besieged by both Bru and Wu Li, they don't want to use it." Li Sheng sighed. "This is what I heard from Jinnu. Gula's real strength is far more than this. His peak of divine power is more than 1/5 million, but now it stops at 1/45 million. I must be planning something, or it takes time to condense the breath. More than 1.5 million. Jian Wushuang raised his brows, and then said calmly, "That's not anxious." His vitality was exposed, and the strong outsiders stared at him, and he was not in a hurry. Besides, it is a Gula. He has to wait for the other party to give him a surprise. That's the secret about the 9 Dragon Balls. Gula looked for Dragon Ball to find a treasure. He is very interested in this, so there is no rush to shoot. Another reason is that Wan Lu didn't plan to give up. Wan Lu is involved. The value is also greater. In the past, the strength was not enough, and anyone who was sneaking into it had to go in. Now that the strength is enough, there is no reason to give up. This is a super mystery that fascinates all the strong. When he arrives at the Lord of the Universe, he needs more treasures. To cross the 7th calamity, you need a mixed stone. He didn't have any. There are also some auxiliary treasures. All this needs to be collected. His current origin has lit up the first universe in the starry sky. Follow-up will continue to light up other universes. Knowing his limit, there are 100,000 black holes. Then you have to build the second universe according to this specification. until the entire time and space are lit. Even the starry sky. The road has been drawn, so I have to go. Many people want to go, but they can't come out this way. There is supernatural power. Dongjun's bones he has brewed in the original universe. Only now did he realize that the aura left on Dongjun's bones was the 8 tribulations realm. In the starry sky, the leader of the human race. The lord of the 8 tribulations realm universe. Beheaded and killed. Speaking of which, this is his disciple and grandson. This hatred is also counted on the head of extinction. Originally taught him how to fish. Now give it back. Somewhat embarrassing. I don't know which apprentice is doing. It may have fallen. After all, the span is too big. Extinction flows from the starry sky to this. And I don't know how long it has passed. But no matter how long it takes, the divine power on the bones is extremely rich. As soon as he merged now, he felt the beating of the divine power of his whole body. Just an instant divine power increased by 10,000. The foundation divine power continues to rise. Fortunately, his divine body is enough to guard against the sky. The fusion is fast enough. According to the original standard of swallowing, only 20% can be taken. It can also make his basic supernatural power easily reach 1 million. Even more. 1 hour. Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged and said to Li Sheng, "If you want to go out, I can send you to see the Empress, or when everything is over, I will take you away personally to protect your Li family forever." Live. Li Sheng swallowed, with loneliness in his eyes. He even hoped to hear what great opportunity Jian Wushuang would give him. But thinking that Jian Wushuang could hardly protect himself before. There is no such thing as gula. So he didn't talk about it anymore, but replied plainly, "I don't care anymore. I just want to change back to the identity of the human race and return to the Yu country to take care of the family." What? Jian Wushuang was stunned for a moment, and then said, "Is there no confidence in this? Li Sheng is now the pinnacle of the 5 tribulations realm. After returning to Yu kingdom, except for the Empress, he is the lord of the second universe. Coupled with this sacred meeting, the lord of the universe in the entire Gumu continent has been drastically reduced by half. At this time, Li Sheng can go to some big forces, or take the initiative to join the Gumu sect. There is still hope in the 6 tribulations realm. Jian Wushuang, it's all because of you that I can have such a chance this time." Li Sheng took a deep breath and proactively admitted, "If you weren't there, I might have died in Sang Mo's hands." At the beginning of the Roman River, the Empress abandoned them and left. Li Sheng, the master of the 4 tribulations realm universe, was left behind. Without Jian Wushuang, he would really not survive. There will be no luck in the back. The luck in the back was also related to his conversion into a desolate beast. If it weren't for turning into a desolate beast, how he would survive in the Roman River would be a problem. And he would still be able to go ashore and encounter that kind of opportunity. Jian Wushuang saw Li Sheng, as if he saw those ordinary mediocre masters of the universe. Compared with the masters of the universe, Li Sheng's luck is indeed against the sky. It's okay to say that he is the chosen one. So many lords of the 5 tribulations realm universe have fallen, but Li Sheng is still alive. It also became the 5 tribulations realm. Take this, there is a pill for transforming into a human race. Jian Wushuang threw a mustard seed to Li Sheng. End of this chapter. Chapter 5882. He remembered the previous time. Naturally, he will not treat each other badly. He didn't know what Gula promised Li Sheng, but these are the only things that can help. Becoming a super strong in the future can protect the inheritance of the Li family. You can also keep Li Sheng from dying. After catching the mustard seeds, Li Sheng didn't rush to use the conversion pill, but just collected it into his body. But when he looked at it with thought, he was taken aback. He looked at Jian Wushuang in disbelief. Jian Wushuang nodded indifferently and said, "Don't be surprised, it's for you, but I have to speak out." He raised his finger and pointed to it, indicating that someone was staring at them. Where are the strong outsiders watching? If he knew that he gave Li Sheng the power of life, it would have harmed him instead. Not enough, please ask me at any time. Everyone knows the power of life anyway. He will not pick and pick so again. Li Sheng didn't know. Thinking that Jian Wushuang had pulled out Wan Lu, he nodded quickly. Those life powers are useless now, but they will be of great use when they become Sanjia in the future. After the explanation, Jian Wushuang closed his eyes and began to absorb Dongjun's bones to enhance his supernatural power. The outside fighting continues. Gula did have a problem. The breath in him keeps rising. The Vietnam War gets stronger. Now the divine power has reached 1.47 million. Wu Li and Bulu also felt that something was wrong. Don't worry, at his speed it won't take long. When Wushuang brother becomes the master of the universe, we don't need to worry about it. Wu Li comforted Bulu, but there was nothing in his heart. I'm afraid I can't hold it. There are more than 2 hours left. Bulu thought that the elder was still urging Dragon Ball, so he didn't dare to ask by voice transmission. Can only be immersed in fighting hard. Although the Gula side became stronger with the Vietnam War, they did not have a completely desperate posture, but tried to delay the time. At this time of the war, Gula also saw it. These opponents of his are all equipped with unique skills. From less than 1 million supernatural powers at the beginning, to now everyone has more than 1 million supernatural powers. Has made him numb. Also a little scared. Fearing and pressing, Bru and Wu Li broke out again. So he planned to gather his energy and end the battle in one wave. The so-called gathering of Qi is not to gather greater and powerful divine power. Instead, gather enough Qi to prepare for the second transformation. Transformation for the first time. From 1 million to more than 1.4 million today. The second transformation requires his divine power to reach 500,000 before he can use it. So he has to hold on. Once transformed for the second time, his supernatural power is enough to crush everyone. At that time, he didn't have to be trembling, and he had already thought that once the transformation was completed, he would kill these people instantly. Never waver again. Wait, Gula gritted his teeth. His body was already devastated. This is the first time someone can push him to this state. The oldest barbaric era. Those powerful 7 tribulations realm desolate beasts did not force him to this point. Gula's divine power has reached 1.49 million. When Wu Li was shaken open, his divine body began to crack. Bulu quickly reached Wu Li's side and helped Wu Li resist Gula. Go where Danbao? Wu Li nodded. Such a high-intensity battle can still be easy to do because of Danbao's existence. As long as Danbao is alive, he will be able to restore them to their peak time and time again. On Jian Wushuang's side, at the moment when he felt Wu Li's divine power drop again, he was just about to take a shot, and he realized that Danbao had already begun to restore Wu Li's divine power. This made the corner of his mouth move, and he continued to improve his supernatural power. Millions. Now his basic supernatural power has reached 1 million. Only half of Dongjun's skeleton remained. According to his speculation, it can also increase by 200,000. It's just that the later, the slower he will improve the divine body. Even if there are treasures of divine power, go to unlimited supply. Still can't improve quickly. Said it is an hour of time. But he accelerated the time to 1,000,000 times in his original universe. Almost 100,000 years have passed. Only 200,000 were raised. This was because of the divine power in Dongjun's bones, which was too pure. Almost without too much transformation, it can be absorbed. If you use some treasures, I'm afraid it will take more time. And slower. Call. After 1,000,000 supernatural powers, he absorbed it again, but found that it was too slow. The threat from the outside world is no longer Gula. It's those ancient robberies. Originally, he didn't pay attention to King Shenmu, but from where Wu Li learned that King Shenmu had been showing weakness, he didn't dare to be so careless. What now needs to be considered is how to deal with the 8 tribulations realm. 1,000,000 of supernatural power is enough. The 6 tribulations realm would be capable of 1,000,000 supernatural powers. It's almost reached the limit. The female emperor had this supernatural power at the beginning. Breaking the limit is nothing to him. But he also needs some chance to assist him. Just like that power. If I were to perform super eternal change, My supernatural power would be 2 million. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. You can't look at the surface when you look at people. His basic supernatural power is only 1 million. But that is not his true strength at all. Not to mention the super-eternal change. With the current power of the beast god, he can easily use it 5 times. Doubled by 100,000. 5 times is 500,000. His current combat power can be divided into 5 grades. The first grade is the supernatural power under normal conditions. The second grade is that he uses the power of the beast god. The third grade is his original kendo under normal conditions. In the fourth grade, he performed superuniversal changes. The fifth gear is the super-eternal change, which coincides with the blessing of the origin of the universe. At that time, it was his strongest combat power. With his strength improved so much, he has to make some changes to his fighting style. After all, it was in Guyu time and space. Fight more with supernatural power. The division of combat power will also be compared with divine power. Just like his original kendo, now you can use the third sword, reincarnation sword. He hadn't used the power of this sword before, and he didn't know it. But the first 2 swords, because of the strong origin, have also become stronger. The current sword of life can reach a combat power of 2 million supernatural powers. The sword of death is similar, and the third sword is the power produced by the opposite of the 2. One can imagine how powerful it will be. So in the future, you have to hug a little too. Can't see an opponent went all out. The more exposed, the more targeted. Although he didn't plan to stay long in Guyu time and space. But also pay attention. Comparing the 9 major time and space, there are contacts with each other. He didn't stay in Guyu for a long time. But that didn't mean he didn't go to other time and space. These 9 core time and space will accompany him for a long time. And now Guyu time and space, there are still some tricky things waiting for him to solve. For example, get together the original 10 people. This difficulty is not small. Now I have to protect myself. End of this chapter. Chapter 5883. It is also a headache. Come step by step. Call. Breathing out a suffocating breath, Jian Wushuang slowly got up, stood side by side with Li Sheng and reminded. Get ready to switch, the end of Gula is here. I thought you would keep watching. Li Sheng was a little surprised. He couldn't see through Jian Wushuang before, and now he can't see through. It just felt that Jian Wushuang's temperament had undergone a certain change. Jian Wushuang shrugged and said indifferently, Don't you know the strong are the last to come on stage? Get ready to witness. After speaking, the figure flashed before Gula's eyes. The power of the beast also ran crazily, and the divine power reached 1.5 million in an instant. 5 times the power of the beast god. Raising his hand, he directly sank Gula's face into it. Boom! Gula's figure is even more like a meteor sliding backwards, falling into the lowest abyss. When Wu Li and Bulu saw him, they were both happy. Brother Wushuang, you finally broke through. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief. Especially Wu Li. He knew that Jian Wushuang had a trick that could double his divine power. This doubling is not a doubling of combat power, but the divine power has doubled. At the beginning, from the basic supernatural power of 400,000, it soared directly to 800,000. The breath and hair turned blue. Wu Li saw clearly. As for the dark red aura right now, he knew that this was Jian Wushuang's innate treasure of the universe, the divine power that inspired it. Just use the treasures of the innate universe. There will be 1.5 million divine powers. If you use that trick, I'm afraid the divine power can reach 2 million. Wu Li's speculation is indeed accurate. Now the Gula is completely over. Thanks for your hard work. Jian Wushuang turned his head to look at Wu Li and Bulu, throwing out 2 groups of vitality at will. Go directly into their bodies. Shock leaked from Bula's eyes, and the divine power that had been languished was instantly restored to its peak. Faster than Dan Bao's recovery. Wu Li was even more surprised. He is more sensitive to the force of life. When I felt the force of life, my eyes were almost staring out. Brother Wushuang, did you pull out 1 Lu? Wu Li said in disbelief. In his opinion, This kind of innate life force is only among the willows. No, this is the life force that belongs to my Jian Wushuang. Turning to the pit where Gula fell again, his hands condensed huge life force. Aiming at the pit, it is a huge light wave containing life force. This blow smashed the core origin of the entire infinite world. Now his combat power can indeed destroy the entire infinite world. Seeing such a large group of vitality, Wu Li hugged his head and exclaimed, "This is too wasteful, or you can give me a shot. I will destroy the Gula." I heard this request for the first time. He was a little speechless. If he tells Wu Li, the force of life has emerged from the force just now, and there is still a little force of death, he would not say that. Those powers of death are the powers of acquired death that he used the power of life to reversely deduced. There is a gap between the power of innate death and extinction, but after being integrated into the power of life, the reversal power produced is still extremely powerful. Wu Li cheered up and leaned forward and said excitedly, "Surely you have mastered the power of life, right?" When he saw Jian Wushuang's unawareness of the power of life, he was a little skeptical. Now that Jian Wushuang took the initiative to say it, I really believed it. Jian Wushuang was not so sensitive to the force of life at first. It was mainly the first time to leave Qishan Temple. He has mastered the power of life in Qishan Temple, and only one person kills the life against him. There is no defense at all against other people. It was only found in Guyu time and space. The life force is so sensitive. Only then did the power of life in the Juyian sword be absorbed. At that time, Wu Li had indeed doubted it, but it was a pity that Shuren had not recovered at that time. After it recovered, Shuren couldn't see through Jian Wushuang, so he didn't think much about it. Until now, Jian Wushuang is not hiding it. They only determined that someone really had mastered the innate life force. In this way, it is too simple to open Wanlu. Killing Gula, they will be able to go straight to Wanlu, without the need for those twists and turns. Why, do you want to solve Gula? Jian Wushuang gave up his position, and let Wu Li step forward. Wu Li hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Forget it, I'll spare him once. You just broke through the 9 Gula to practice your hands. 1.5 million supernatural powers. Brew can't solve both of them. Only Jian Wushuang can kill Gula." At this time, Li Sheng also transformed into a human race. He could see that Jian Wushuang had already reached the Lord of the Universe, and beheading Gula was not a problem. There is no need to stand on both sides, waiting for Jian Wushuang to kill Gula. He will be able to leave with Jian Wushuang. Bulu also noticed Li Sheng at this time, with anger in his eyes. "Brother Li Sheng, let me show you the direction. Your Majesty fled towards the assembly area in the southeast. You should be able to catch up with him now." Wu Li quickly relieved Li Sheng. Otherwise, when Gula is resolved, Brew will start to attack Li Sheng. Both sides helped him and Jian Wushuang. But there are also priorities. Obviously, they care more about the powerhouses of the Balunga tribe. And Dan Bao has what the tree man wants in his body. Standing in the distance, Li Sheng clasped his fists, knowing his embarrassing situation. That's it for meticulous work. Even if the original appearance is leaked, it is difficult to be accepted. What's more, he killed a lot of Palunga people. It's also embarrassing to stay here. Then he turned his head and walked towards the place where he came. Now the Dragon God continent has been destroyed. There was no desolate beast to stop it either. It can go directly to the Roman River, where he is more familiar. Without King Tiemu, those wild beasts in the 5 Tribulations realm would not be able to threaten him. The Empress can be found safely, then leave the infinite world with the Empress. Regardless of whether the other party has become a saint, he is considered complete this time. There is also the promise of Jian Wushuang, worry-free for a lifetime, and it's good. How could the 6 Tribulations realm be that simple? Seeing where Li Sheng disappeared, Wu Li secretly sighed that the other party was lucky. "Gula, won't you come out yet?" Jian Wushuang shouted toward the abyss below. "If I don't come out again, I will go down." After speaking, he rushed directly into the abyss. The other party's divine power reached 1.5 million, which was similar to what Li Sheng said. There is really a 150 supernatural powers. Wouldn't think that you can win by dragging it all the time. Huh. Entering the dark abyss. Relying on the power of mind to feel the deepest gura. He nodded his hands, constantly blasting the divine power in his body. Want to force Gula out? You're really interesting. Jian Wushuang shook his head, and his supernatural power immediately returned to normal. But he drew the sword of 10,000 tribulations. Since the opponent can't come out, let the battle be resolved in the abyss. Song. The sword of 10,000 tribulations was pulled out, and the cold light illuminated the entire abyss. 4 changes today, 2 changes yesterday. End of this chapter. Chapter 58-84. It also made him see the Gula below. At this time, the Gula divine body shrank into a ball, and a black halo was still surrounding the body. He was a little surprised when he saw this scene. This seems to have something to do with the transformation of the frozen demon race. He has witnessed 2 frozen demon races, and he also has experience. Unexpectedly, Gula could still transform. Can't stay. The sword of 10,000 tribulations split instantly. Although it was just a random sword, its power also exceeded 1.5 million magical attacks. In an instant, Wan Jian fell. This is enough to kill the Gula in this state. But just when Jianing fell, a golden light burst. Gula shrank into a ball, and stretched out his arms in an instant. A roar from the ancient demon directly shattered the abyss. Countless huge crusts began to fall. I made you successful in transforming. Jian Wushuang shook his head. His figure flashed out of the abyss. In that case, wait for the opponent to come out for a fight. Boom! The abyss collapsed. When Wu Li saw Jian Wushuang coming out, Nian Li also felt the change in Gula. Why is he stronger again? Bru was also surprised. The 2 of them were scared of being beaten. After discovering that Gula had become stronger again, he looked pale and looked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang said indifferently, "Little things, don't be so scared." As soon as he finished speaking, a golden ball of light burst out of the buried abyss. Go straight in his direction. The divine power soared directly to 1.6 million. Displayed 6 times the power of the beast god. Both hands directly resisted the golden light and shadow. After blocking, it was discovered that Jin Guangzhong was the Gula after her transformation. She was golden, and even the threaded corners on the top of her head were gone. Boom! Jian Wushuang felt his hands numb and let go, while Gula used his round head directly against his chest. His divine power once again forcibly increased, his hands blocked again, and Gula fiercely threw out. This time, Gula was not as embarrassed as before, and his figure stopped after just a pause. A pair of evil eyes glanced at them. With a squeeze of both hands, the entire infinite world was trembling, and the rubble scattered below began to fly towards the sky uncontrollably. This force has interfered with the gravity brought by the source. You are really honored, Gula said with one hand on his hips, and pointed at Jian Wushuang and others. It is to be able to witness the final state of this king. It is the greatest luck of your life. Wu Li's legs were shaking, and he said in disbelief, "Since you are so strong, why don't you transform yourself sooner? Transform earlier. It won't be boring. I just let you experience the feeling of suddenly falling into after just experiencing the victory." Gula sneered, but he forgot the plan before the transformation. It was originally intended to quickly resolve the battle, but once the words were opened, they couldn't stand it. Mainly want Jian Wushuang and others desperate. Now my divine power is 1.8 million, who else can stop me? Gula broke out again, and directly shook Jian Wushuang and others back. Very arrogant. It's too early for you to be happy. Jian Wushuang shook his head, and drew out the sword of 10,000 tribulations backhand, thinking of the scene when he killed the ancient temple. It seems to be staged again. Gula saw Jian Wushuang drawing his sword and sneered. Why are you going crazy? Don't worry, I will be very fast this time. You can go and meet those human races below with a bit of tolerance. In the abyss, he could see that Jian Wushuang's divine power was at most 1.6 million, which could not threaten him at all. Thought Jian Wushuang was scaring him. It's you who should be crazy. Jian Wushuang slowly raised his hand, and the origin within the ice-blue blade suddenly exploded. The origin within the sword of 10,000 tribulations instantly rose to the level of 6 tribulations. The sword of death condenses instantly. That powerful breath shocked everyone. Even those powerhouses in the 7 tribulations realm from the outside world are extremely surprised. This sword can kill most of the scattered robbers in the 7 tribulations realm. After all, it was converted into a supernatural power, a full 2 million. It was already the peak state of the top 7 tribulations realm. Not every 7 tribulations realm dispersal tribulation is as powerful as the Soul Heaven Emperor. Gula's whole burst. I can't believe it. I don't believe I will lose. Even less believe that Jian Wushuang would be so powerful. How is this possible? How can you be so strong? Gula kept backing away. He was unwilling to accept this result. Until now, he finally transformed into his final form. The supernatural power is 1.8 million. He could have won easily. Jia. Gula fell into a state of madness. Before Jian Wushuang could take a shot, he flew towards the sky and jumped to the top of the entire infinite world. Going up is the enchantment of the formation. That barrier, even the Shenmu King, is very difficult to destroy. Of course, this is because Shenmu Wang is hiding. If you don't hide your divine power, the time of a stick of incense can be broken. As for Gula, his divine power is only 1.8 million, and he doesn't know how long it will take to break it. Jian Wushuang would not give the opponent this opportunity. Gula pressed his head against the barrier, gritted his teeth, suddenly turned his head, and looked at Jian Wushuang and others below. The black sword shadow erupting from the icy blade had already rushed. There is no escape. Then die together. Gula clenched his fists, his figure swelled in a circle, and his divine power once again increased in a large range. And it was almost close to 1.9 million. Released his fist, opened his hands, and gathered the supernatural power of the whole body randomly, gathered between his hands. A huge dark red ball of light condensed in his hand. This is his strongest blow. Even if he couldn't stop Jianying, he would destroy this infinite world. If the origin is destroyed, all life will disappear. Gula threw the dark red sun towards Jian Wushuang with all his strength. The black sword shadow passed through the dark red sun and hit Gula's divine body. Crackling. Gula's divine body was like a mirror, shattering instantly. But there was still a trace of faint aura remaining. Jian Wushuang below was not in charge of Gula, but headed toward the dark red sun. The breath on the body also began to change. Yu reading www.akanshu.com from the power of the white origin. It instantly transformed into the power of the blue starry sky. Super eternal change. He jumped up suddenly, and when he was approaching the dark red sun at that moment, he kicked to the top of his head, and directly through the huge dark red sun that Gula was proud of. It happened to hit the remaining breath of Gula. The breath instantly turned into powder in the dark red divine power. The dark red sun was bombarding the barrier. Boom! It's as if the whole sky is going to fall down. At the core of the formation of infinite world, many of the supreme elders of the ancient wood school all leaked unbelievable expressions. With the blow just now, even for them, it would be difficult for them to follow. Chapter 5885. Jian Wushuang was easily resolved with one kick. This combat power has surpassed many of them. The 9 great elders of the Guma sect each have 2 million divine powers. Ordinary elders also have more than 1.5 million supernatural powers. For example, the head teacher of the Guma sect has the same divine power as the Gula. It is a pity that he is not too elder. He is also a puppet in the Guma sect. On the surface, no one actually has any rights. Just like this time, the good thing didn't find that head teacher. Instead, let him stand alone against so many strong people outside. This kind of internal fighting is also inevitable in the 8-star sect. After all, resources are limited. Someone has to sacrifice. Those strong from the outside world are now completely divided. Originally thought Jian Wushuang was similar to them. It now appears that they have surpassed them too much. For a time, two forces came into being. The Seeking Peace sect, Star Refining, led the many 7 tribulations of the 16 kingdoms, and they wanted to cooperate with Jian Wushuang and exchange the power of life with treasures. As long as it is reasonable. The radicals are centered on the Lord of Sirius in the Sirius Secret Realm, wooing many loose cultivators, and the 7 tribulations realm in the Secret Realm, preparing to Jian Wushuang. These people are still imagining the limits of Jian Wushuang. I thought that the outbreak just now didn't use my own combat power. If you really want them to spend money to buy it, not only are they reluctant, but they don't have the financial resources. So I can only grab it. On the other side of the Gumu faction, if the money is not available, the goods are still needed. It is to block everyone. Take down Jian Wushuang alone. There are 3 last hours before entering the infinite world. Dragon Mountain. Jian Wushuang didn't have much joy after Gula was completely eradicated. Fallen to the top of Dragon God Mountain. Dan Bao is restoring his supernatural powers to Wu Li and Bulu. They are very happy. Gula is dead. Everything is over. But things are so easy. Gula's death has a price. He exposed the power of life. Now the strong outsiders don't know how to talk about him. He can feel the core origin of the formation of the infinite world, and that power is constantly weakening. Once it is destroyed, there will be countless strong people rushing in. There are also strong people in the 8 tribulations realm. Jian Wushuang looked at Dan Bao and the others and couldn't bear to say it. At the same time, I was also thinking about how not to affect these people. Wu Li, who had recovered to his peak, saw him so entangled, so he calmly stepped forward, patted him on the shoulder and said, "Brother Wushuang, you are so strong, why are you so sad? Just say what you want. Come out. Don't hide and tuck. We are also people who have fought against Gula. We have never seen anything in the world." Gula. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Next, they had to face a group of Gula, and even more powerful enemies than Gula. The Great Elder also watched it at this time. He knew the formation of the infinite world best. At the beginning, the dragon was to destroy the formation, leading to the arrival of the superpower of the ancient Wood School. And more than one. In the memory of inheritance, there are 9 superpowers. Besieged the dragon god. And eventually the dragon god was seriously injured and fell. The Balunga tribe was left behind. Also after the fall of the dragon god, the origin of the formation of the infinite world became stronger. The super powerhouse of the ancient Wood School has never appeared again. Now that the origin is getting weaker and weaker, it shows that someone is destroying the origin in the outside world. If the origin of the formation is ruined, then the infinite world will enter and exit at will, just like other wild worlds. The Great Elder of the Balunga tribe knew this, so he understood the crisis this time. Jian Wushuang also looked over at this time, and the Great Elder nodded. "Then I will not hide it from you. After our human race came to the infinite world, we have been kept under surveillance. I have exposed the power of life. Those who are in the dispersion realm will definitely come to me. You should know how mad about the power of life, for those powerful saboteurs from the outside world." Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and looked at Dan Bao again. The opponent's body also has the source of restoring divine power, and Dan Bao will also be hunted down at that time. Then the remaining elders, and Bulu couldn't escape either. As for Wu Li, he wants to enter Wanlu. Naturally, it is impossible to give up everyone and go alone. Wu Li's mouth was long, and he didn't know what to say for a while. "Everyone, there is not much time." Jian Wushuang shook his head. "At present it is not dead. Wu Li is going to Wanlu. Then everyone can go together. Enter Wanlu Shimu together. The big deal won't come out anymore. Wait until the strength is enough before going out." Wu Li is now in the half-step 6 tribulations realm. Went to Wanlu, as long as the luck is not too bad. Attacking the 6 tribulations realm is not a problem. It didn't take long to enter the infinite world. Wu Li broke through 2 calamities in a row. Wanlu Shinmu, but the entire Guyu time and space ranked in the top 3 super secret realms. The master of the 8 tribulations realm universe couldn't get in. How could the opportunity inside be simple? The original Lord of Hengmu had a mediocre aptitude. After entering Wanlu, not long after he came out, he became the Lord of the Universe in the half-step 8 Tribulations realm. Wu Li's foundation is good. With the help of the Lord of Hengmu, he is naturally much better than Hengmu himself. Not to mention how high the achievement will be. It's always okay to reach Hengmu's original state. Taking a step back, as long as you become the master of the 7 Tribulations realm universe. After coming out, he will have the strength to resist the 8 Tribulations realm. Of course, except for the Lord of the Universe in the 8 Tribulations realm. However, most of the masters of the universe in the 8 Tribulations realm are not in Guyu time and space. There is no need to worry about this. There is nothing wrong with Wu Li. It's just 3 people from the Palunga tribe. Jian Wushuang was very guilty of this. He can quickly reach the 6 Tribulations realm. In addition to his own reasons, the most important thing is the help of the great elders of the Palunga tribe. And Wu Li, Bulu, and even Dan Bao desperately stopped outside. Don't forget this, Grace. That's why he struggled. The lifespan of the great elder is not much. Now I have to flee with them. Although Bru's combat power was good, he was only at the level of the ordinary 7 Tribulations realm. Don't even mention Dan Bao. It's just the combat power of the ordinary Tribulation realm. Almost in the subsequent battles, it was equal to no combat effectiveness. What they in this group have to face is a group of 7 tribulations. Once something goes wrong, Yu regrets it too late to read www.akanshu.com. When Bru heard this, his eyes flickered, but he was not timid. Dan Bao is the same. It was Wu Li, with a dark complexion. Originally thought that when Jian Wushuang reached the Lord of the Universe, he would be stable this time. But the Gula was sent away by the front foot, and then the entire Gumu continent was chased and killed in the 7 Tribulations realm. Of course there are benefits. Jian Wushuang has infinite life force, or innate life force. There is no problem in entering Wanlu. Moreover, Jian Wushuang's innate life force played a big role in the plan of Lord Eternal Wood. Wu Li's mentality is one with the Lord of Hengmu. He completely believes in the Lord of Hengmu. End of this chapter. Chapter 5886. As long as the Lord of Hengmu nodded, no matter how great the danger was, he could deal with it. Just like when he was still the master of the 3 Tribulations realm universe, he dared to take Jian Wushuang, an emperor, to fight Wanli's attention. Speaking of which, he was still a little immature at that time. It's great to imagine everything. If everything is normal in the congregation. Now they are still struggling here with a high probability. There is still a long way to enter Wanlu. Everything is speeding up now. The strength continues to skyrocket. The opportunity came in an instant. They are enjoying the opportunity, and are also facing danger. Another point, Wu Li also just discovered. Since following Jian Wushuang, chances have not been missed. Although dangerous, it can be resolved every time. He hasn't encountered this feeling for a long time. Follow your friends on life and death adventures. Constantly getting stronger in chance. This is a very interesting thing. The road to the strong is not alone anymore. Hey, I thought it was something. Wu Li waved his hands and said, "Isn't it just a group of old guys who are about to enter the coffin? As long as they come, we will take him." Jian Wushuang didn't speak, but looked at the great elder. As long as the elder nodded in agreement. Now he asked Wu Li to take them to Wanlu. Before the strong from outside enters this place, they will reach Wanlu Shenmu. He is now the Lord of the Universe, and can suppress all the 7 Tribulations realm at the speed of the 3 Shake universe. Even if it is King Shenmu, he has information to compare with each other. Moreover, he has reached the Lord of the Universe, exerting 3 shocks in the universe, and his aura is restrained. You can take several people. There is no worries at all. It depends on the great elder. Are you willing to leave the hometown where you once lived? Turning his head to see, the entire Dragon God continent had turned into an abyss, which was a bit embarrassing. There is no hometown here. There is nothing left of grass. The infinite world may be completely plunged into the turbulence of time and space. At this time has been tortured into ruins by the battle. If you stay, you can't survive. The memories of a lifetime passed slowly in the great elder's mind, and he stood up from the throne tiredly and came to Bru and Danbao's side. Put your hands on the shoulders of the two, and then use the palm of your hand to mobilize the last trace of power, to transmit the power of the Dragon Ball to the two. Bulu and Danbao looked up at the Great Elder at the same time, with surprise and dismay in their eyes. Elder, what are you doing? Bruce seemed to see the decision of the Elder in his eyes, but he couldn't bear to ask. Although Danbao was small, he understood. The Great Elder will leave them soon. Two benefactors. The Elder looked at Jian Wushuang and Wu Li, and held his fists respectfully at them. Wu Li has a thick skin and can bear it. Jian Wushuang couldn't afford it. He hurriedly stepped up to help the Great Elder and said, "If the Great Elder has anything to say, just say it. You are kind to me. As long as I Jian Wushuang can do it, I will never stay. Hand. This is my hometown, but in the face of those strong outsiders, I have to leave. Before you leave, I want to entrust Bulu and Danbao to you. And do not ask them to restore my palunga. But please be able to keep the two of them alive and leave, no matter where they go, as long as they are alive." The words of the Great Elder are extremely sincere. Jian Wushuang originally planned to take them away. Even if the Elder didn't say anything, he would do it. "Elder, you don't have to be so polite to enter Wanlu. Anyway, there is no quota. And I have a fate with this little Danbao. Don't worry, the outside world can't pretend to be your Palunga clan. I'll give it to Wanlu. You Barunga people have opened up a world." After Wu Li finished speaking, he looked at Danbao with a smile. "Although this is a bit big, but it's not impossible. The outside world can't do it, and setting them up in the sacred tree of Wanlu is also a way." "Thank you." The Great Elder bowed again. Jian Wushuang wanted to help, but was stopped by Bulu. "This," he insisted again and again, but he could only give up. Feel the weakness of the infinite world formation. The Great Elder was not talking nonsense, and made the final plan. Fusion. Give his remaining divine body and wisdom to Bulu. Help Bru become a full-body Waverung fighter. It can even be said that it is the second generation of the complete dragon god. As for Danbao, the Elder knew that there was some kind of treasure in Danbao, which was a treasure from among the willows. But he didn't say it clearly, but told Jian Wushuang alone. As long as you are not blind, you can see that Wu Li has been staring at the treasure in his body. Jian Wushuang could see it too, but he hadn't even asked Wu Li, or the Lord of Hengmu. This kind of thing can absolutely happen. He will not forget the Great Elder's sustenance. A stream of light slid down from the air. Jian Wushuang and his party also started their second march. With a tired body, head to the far north ice field, and then wait for the formation barrier to disappear, and leave the infinite world. Go to Wanlu Shenmu. The Grand Elder and Bru are completely assimilated. However, the Great Elder only left his own power, but his consciousness disappeared forever. Achieved brutal peak combat power. The perfect Balunga. It can also be said to be a complete dragon god. The true dragon at the peak of the Seven Tribulations realm. Normal divine power is 2 million. This also made Wu Li speechless. No longer staring at Danbao. It originally took several years to travel from the Dragon God continent to the far north ice sheet. Jian Wushuang reached the edge of the barrier in just an hour. Just wait for the formation to disappear. Before disappearing, the Great Elder used Dragon Ball to isolate them from the outside world. They are completely invisible to the outside world now. So at the edge, they are not afraid of being ambushed in advance. After the outside world discovered their disappearance, everyone is in a hurry. The same is true for King Shenmu. After Jian Wushuang entered the infinite world, someone stared at him. Knowing that Jian Wushuang can restrain his aura to the extreme, most people can't find it at all. But Shenmu King is different. Not to mention the strength. Just say that the treasure in Shenmu King's body can lock Jian Wushuang's life force. It seemed to him that Jian Wushuang couldn't get out of his palm. You reading www.akanshu.com, but now they are completely isolated. How could he not panic? Push all of you away. Now go to the edge of the infinite world immediately. Take this token. As long as the token flashes, send the location to me. Shenmu Wang distributed some tokens to everyone. The 9 great elders, and the 18 core elders did not hesitate. After taking the token, they went straight to the edge of the infinite world. More than 27 Tribulation Realm powerhouses have joined forces to make the boundary of the entire infinite world uncomfortable, just to block Jian Wushuang's way out. After everyone left, King Shenmu isolated all the space in this place. After all preparations were made, the breath on his body began to change. End of this chapter. Chapter 5887. A force that can make all the 7 Tribulations realm tremble burst out. In front of him, the already broken core of the formation couldn't help trembling. Boom! Shenmu King dispatched with a palm, and countless vines appeared on his body and rushed into the source and began to destroy it wantonly. If someone who is knowledgeable sees it, he will definitely be able to recognize that the vine on Shenmu King's body is the Moyan vine that was also owned by Elder Mu Chen. But the Moyanting of the Shenmu King, but the Moyanting of the 8 Tribulations realm level. The level of the 8 Tribulations realm is equivalent to the combat power of an 8 Tribulations realm. No wonder everyone pushes away. King Shenmu has been showing weakness. In addition to Mo Yin Tung, the life force in his god's body is also constantly erupting, enough to supply his divine power attack. With a single palm, you can smash the 7 Tribulations realm. The current Shenmu King was much stronger than his own peak. It was already possible to compete with the Master of the Universe in the 8 Tribulations realm. After several attacks, the origin of the core of the formation was completely damaged. The appearance of the entire infinite world is also completely leaked out. A wild breath suddenly hit the sky. This movement. In an instant, those 7 Tribulations realm experts in the ancient Wood Sect Holy Land were stunned. What are you looking at? These high-sounding guys of the ancient Wood Sect have already entered in advance. Jian Wushuang has disappeared. Maybe they have been caught by the strong of the ancient Wood Sect, so monopolized. Otherwise everyone will work together to destroy the holy land of the ancient Wood Sect. The Lord of Sirius was originally the leader of the werewolf tribe in the wild. They are also militants. At this time it brought the rhythm. The radicals he led reached a consensus in an instant. The head teacher of the Gumma school was completely dumbfounded. This is going to rebel. Now in the entire Gummu sect Holy Land, he is in the 7 Tribulations realm. How is he going to stop? Jiangmen God, do you still want to be the master of the ancient Wood sect at this time? The power of the Sirius Lord is no weaker than that of the ancient Wood sect. Taking a step forward, he came directly to the front of Jiang Menshin. But before the Lord of Sirius took the shot, he punched the door himself and directly withdrew from the ancient Wood Holy Land. Make everyone dumbfounded. In fact, this is completely unnecessary. As long as they flee and control the formation, they will be able to trap them for some time. Then go to inform King Shenmu. But Jiang Menshin did not intend to do this, because Bobby D had already notified him. After a few hours, they will arrive at the Gumma school. And one more sentence. Today the Gumma sect will be removed. The door is waiting for this opportunity. He had had enough in the Gumma school. Now that everyone is finished together, he still has the next family to accept it. It can be regarded as revenge for dissatisfaction in my heart. These greedy guys. The door withdrew from the Holy Land and went directly to the treasure land of the ancient Wood School. He cursed the Shenmu King in his heart and was greedy with those overly elders. However, he took the initiative to enter the treasure land of the ancient Wood School and began to search for treasures. Anyway, the Gumma school will be over soon. These treasures are not taken for nothing. Although there is no power in Gumma school, but the power to distribute treasures is still there. He can also enter the treasure land. Searching wildly, packed all the treasures within his authority and swept them clean. Then walk away. The guard guarding here wanted to come forward and ask, but after seeing the gloomy face of the gate god, he stepped back. He not only searched the treasure house of the Gumu sect, but also destroyed all the fairy tombs behind the Gumu sect. There are still a lot of 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouses inside, but they have lost their vitality and have been sealed up. I thought it would be a sin, which attracted a lot of karma. Unexpectedly, the moral golden light on his body has increased by several feet. It seems that the 7 tribulations realm buried inside are not good people. Grab the treasure house and destroy the fairy tomb. All in one go. The holy land of the Guma school was also destroyed at this time. The original magnificent Gumu sect killed all day long. The disciple of the school was almost dead. If the Empress Fengchen knew that the Gumu sect that she had tried so hard to enter would have been destroyed, she didn't know what she would think. On the other hand, Shenmu King was already chasing Jian Wushuang, and he didn't care about the Gumu faction at all. Why can the ancient wood school become the 8-star sect? Not because of his existence. As long as he is still there, the Gumu sect will not die. On the contrary, if he is gone, then Guma school would not exist either. Over the years, that old fellow from Shirgua has been staring at him, and the flame also pressed his head. Sooner or later, he will behead these 2 people. Back then, the 8 tribulations realm powerhouse from the daughter kingdom threatened him, so he fell. Few people know about this matter. I'm afraid there are only a few people. He, Shenmu King, will never allow other strong men to threaten him in Guma continent. Nor is it allowed for anyone to dare to peep at his Wanlu Shenmu. These little hairy thieves. Sure enough, they are paying attention to Wanlu and Yu Hongmu. It's really great. This time I will completely solve you. My treasure can also be complete. The Shenmu King's speed increased sharply. The time of a stick of incense traverses the entire infinite world, heading towards the big world of Wanlu Shenmu. The location of the infinite world is interconnected with the great world of Wanlu Shenmu. They had just discovered the whereabouts of Jian Wushuang, Wanlu Shenmu. After the ancient wood sect holy land was destroyed, Lianxing brought the powerhouses of the 16 kingdoms, and Sirius brought the powerhouses in the secret realm, and they also descended to the infinite world. But they didn't know where Jian Wushuang had gone. I don't know where to find it at this time. You can only follow the strong guys of the Gumu sect and head towards the Wanlu divine realm. If you can't find it yourself, then follow the strong guy of the ancient wood school. You won't get lost like this. The strong from both sides marched towards Wanlu divine realm together. At this time, in Shangfen of Guma continent, a huge spaceship appeared. Is rushing towards Gumu faction. Cabin. The 8 tribulations realm of the Stone Kingdom did not go. After receiving the call from the 7 tribulations realm of the Stone Kingdom, Emperor Bobby was a little surprised. But after another thought, that's right. The ancestor of the 8 tribulations realm of Shur Kingdom was actually the weakest of the 8 tribulations realm. Without the help of the flame god, how dare to fight with the Shenmu King? Even if King Shenmu kept showing weakness, he didn't dare to go. The current flame gods are dominated by clones, and are heading towards the time and space of Qishan Temple. There was no movement on the deity's side. Qi Temple extinction. Bobby Emperor shook his head in disdain. This conflicted with his plan, and he didn't want to waste time looking for the trouble of extinction. And now Jian Wushuang's clone left by his side also disappeared. He also had no way of extinction. The resurrection plan has reached a critical moment. Originally, I was going to the secret realm of Wuhua. Who would think that Wanli's side was the first to go wrong? Jian Wushuang's deity kept the secret from him, and wanted to open Wanlu. How could he agree? End of this chapter. Chapter 5888. Qi Jiuxiao. Exist. The red-skinned Qi Jiuxiao walked out of his cave and stood behind Emperor Bobby, his expression respectful. The appearance of Qi Jiuxiao made everyone unable to hold back. The same goes for the Soul Heaven Emperor. They couldn't bear the sense of oppression. It's so powerful that it's suffocating. Wait. As long as you meet someone who dares to resist, you will be killed with a punch. Don't keep your hands. Bobby D was very concerned about Wanlu, and naturally would not keep any hands. Randomly looked at the Soul Tiendi and others behind him again, his eyes moved. Everyone understood in an instant and nodded frantically. Bobby D was very satisfied, and yearned for this feeling of being superior. It is far from reaching the peak. When he becomes the queen of sabotage, the path to resurrection is also his path to the gods. Resurrection. Bobby D is not the only one seeking this path. Wu Li, who was following Jian Wushuang, was thinking too. To be precise, Lord Hengmu was thinking. Both have the same goal. They are all hitting the road of the gods. Guyu Shikong is such a strong robbery realm. They are all running towards the Nine Tribulations realm. This is putting the cart before the horse. Even if it reaches the Nine Tribulations realm, how can it be? It's still a martial artist. Only to become a god. Only then can you get rid of the practice and truly enjoy the world. Wanlu Divine Realm. It is also the realm of gods. But here is a willow tree. A willow tree is actually the top 3 super secret realm in Guyu time and space. The secret among them, so many powerful people ruined themselves. Now someone stepped into this place again. Jian Wushuang. After they shattered the barrier of the infinite world, they rushed towards this place in an instant. The speed of the 3-shock universe is only a bit weaker than the peak Shimu King. So they are the first strong people to reach here. How far further? Jian Wushuang looked at Wu Li. Now they have reached the Ou Thankserts of Wanlu Divine Realm. There were also a lot of obstacles on the road. But with Bru, the pinnacle powerhouse of the 7 Tribulations realm, he didn't need Jian Wushuang to take a shot to smooth everything out. So there are not too many twists and turns. But the deeper, the stronger the obstacle. No one has relied on hard power to enter Wanlu so far. Even the master of the universe in the 8 Tribulations realm could not do it. Fortunately, the periphery can still hurry at a normal speed. But after reaching the inner circle, they couldn't make any progress. Wherever there are rules, they are all isolated. Who knows what monsters will appear? There is a lot of vitality in Wanlu. Naturally, many ethnic groups will be bred. These ethnic groups must practice in the 10,000 Willow Divine Realm, and they cannot go out for a lifetime. Although he can't get out, his strength is much stronger than that of the outsiders. After all, it is a minority group. Although the strength of a few of them is not bad, after entering where they are, it is also very dangerous. Wu Li was also a bit desolate at this time, and the Lord of Constant Wood in his body was using that treasure to find the exit where he left. Following that exit, they can go in again. This is also what left behind. After originally intending to become the 8 Tribulations realm, he entered Wanlu again. Na Qingxiang was finally picked the peaches by King Shenmu. The treasure was also taken away from the core components and almost fell. Don't worry, it's nearby. I need some time. Wu Li's voice changed directly. It was the Lord of Hengmu who was talking. Wu Li wanted to explain, but was directly blocked by Jian Wushuang. Now there is no time to talk like that. Listen to nonsense. Go first southeast, looking for a spiritual field. The voice of Lord Hengmu sounded again. Jian Wushuang's thought power was slightly sensed, and he discovered the spiritual field in the southeast direction, and led everyone to the top of the spiritual field. The spiritual field here has definitely existed for more than 1,000,000 epochs, and no one has picked it at all. If it hadn't been in a hurry this time, Jian Wushuang would have to go down and pick the spiritual field for whatever he said. The size of this spiritual field, if it is harvested and sold out, it can sell $1,000,000 mixed stone. He has now become the Lord of the Universe, and he needs the Hunyuan stone to practice in the follow-up, and he needs the Hunyuan stone to cross the catastrophe even more. This thing has disappeared in Qi Temple. No matter what, you have to prepare more. Ordinary 6 Tribulations realm, only 1,000 in one era. He is not ordinary. The origin universe is many times stronger than the 6 Tribulation realm cosmic masters in Guyu time and space. Only Tongha Sword Immortal can breed 10,000 in one era. Let alone him. According to his speculation, at least 1,000,000 will start in an era. But he has no time to lay eggs. There are not a few strong men who survived by nurturing the Hunyuan stone on their own. They are all fighting for opportunities and treasures to fight for. Jian Wushuang is the same. He has less time. A lot of things behind are waiting for him to solve. There is no time to nurture the Hunyuan stone here. Especially now. He can give up even millions of mixed stones. Just after stopping, the Lord of Hengmu asked him to walk towards Lingquan in the southwest. When he arrived at Lingquan, he became even more tempted. If a spiritual spring is completely removed, it can sell tens of millions of mixed stones. In the periphery of this Wanlu Divine Realm, There are probably not many treasure lands that can be compared with this Lingquan. But before he was moved, the voice of Lord Hungmu sounded again. Let him go to another place. Just when he was about to leave cruelly, Wes in the Origin universe stopped him forcibly. Jian Wushuang panicked and quickly said, Master Weiss, this is not the time to be joking. There are a large group of strong men who are chasing and killing me. Stop making trouble. Don't worry, I won't let you suffer. Weiss was on the top of Tianqing Mountain, enjoying various kinds of delicacies, while chatting with Jian Wushuang, who was amused. Jian Wushuang almost collapsed. In the end, Weiss asked him to move this Longquan into his original universe. You are a god, do you still care about this treasure? Jian Wushuang began to doubt the identity of Weiss again. He recognized the strength. But this treasure is also tens of millions of mixed stones. What is it to God? Can't it be changed at hand? He couldn't forget now. Weiss went to summon the Supreme Tribulation. Yu reading www.akanshu. Calm. The shock at that time was the same as that of Weiss, who asked him for Lingquan now. Hoo, it's changed by myself, and the texture is different from the innate spirit spring. I want to use this spirit spring to make wine, and I will give you a copy after it is made. Weiss covered his mouth and chuckled lightly. Jian Wushuang had no choice but to rush down the Lingquan alone in the surprise of everyone, and moved the entire valley that carried the Lingquan into his original universe. The Lord Hengmu, who saw this scene, was also going crazy and reminded loudly, Don't move this kind of garbage in the Wanlu Shenmu. I will give you as much as you want. After Jian Wushuang heard these words, he agreed. But all this was not his original intention. Weiss on Tianqing Mountain was a little angry when he heard it. Dare to doubt his vision. Get punished. End of this chapter. Chapter 5889. N. Weiss thought for a while, and then said into the air, I will punish you for having today's luck. Say what you say. After this sentence was said, the sky suddenly darkened. Jian Wushuang had just received Lingquan into his original universe, and he found a group of black crows in the distant sky. This group of crows also has this high crown king. Go. I didn't dare to think about it, and immediately took everyone to flee. He still didn't know that all of this was due to a word from Lord Hengmu. Weiss on Tianqing Mountain carefully pondered, punishing the Lord of Hengmu, and even impairing the coolie Jian Wushuang. Then it was revoked. I got up from the chair, stretched out, and came to the mountain range where I moved in. After I found the Lingquan, I clicked on my finger, and this Lingquan changed its appearance. The divine power contained in the spring water is at least 100 times stronger than before. The value has also increased 100-fold. Turn the stone into gold. The structure is smaller. This spiritual spring is still unusual in West's view. It was Jian Wushuang that they didn't know the goods. Because Lingquan has great potential. After his cultivation, it changed in an instant. If it were an ordinary Lingquan, if he turned a stone into gold, it would only increase several times. For your hard work, I will help you once. Jian Wushuang was taken aback by Weiss' words. Is this going to benefit him? But now he doesn't have the hesitation to ask for it. After coming to a treasure place that the Lord of Constant would once again said, he couldn't help but ask. Did you forget where you are? It's almost a circle. The Lord of Hengmu said in this sentence almost loses confidence. He hesitated for a while. Impossible. I remember very clearly. It should take a few more landmark instructions before we can find it, don't worry. Jian Wushuang could only do so. Who didn't let him know. But when he was about to go to the next treasure, his figure was out of control again. He was just about to ask Weiss. This time he was going to do it again. I found that the surrounding scenery had changed. After seeing this familiar valley, Lord Hengmu said in surprise. I found it, this is it. At the same time he was surprised. How do you know this place? This sentence stopped Jian Wushuang. But if he said that this was done by Weiss, I am afraid the other party would not believe it. Simply vague. The Lord of Hengmu didn't ask any more. Now the most urgent thing is to open the 10,000 Willows divine tree. After turning his head and glanced at the huge willow tree in the core area of God's domain, he led everyone into the valley. After Jian Wushuang fell on the ground, he also noticed the difference here. There are many carvings here. It seems that someone has lived here. Follow the Lord of Constant Wood and walk towards the depths of the valley. There are more and more sculptures on the road. The sculpture is like a totem of an ethnic group. Jian Wushuang has never seen it before. It should be related to the ethnic group within Shenmu. Wanlu Shenmu has innate life. They can also regard Wanlu Shenmu as a master of the universe. Moreover, he is the master of the universe above the 8 tribulations realm. Such a universe of innate life, the internal structure of the world, and the ethnic group must be extraordinary. Valley Jian Wushuang followed Wu Li and watched all the way. Are these totems portrayed by Senior Hengmu? He couldn't help but ask halfway through. What he saw alone exceeded 100 races. Being able to portray so delicately, only those who have lived in the inner universe of Wanlu Shenmu for a long time can record it. The only one who knew this place was the Lord of Hengmu. Then only he portrayed it. But what Jian Wushuang didn't expect was that this place was not carved by the Lord of Hengmu. Don't be surprised. I am not the first practitioner to enter Wanlu Shenmu. When I left here, I was as surprised as you. There are definitely people who can enter Wanlu, but it's not like I am on the bright side. The voice of Lord Hengmu came from Wu Li. Jian Wushuang nodded, but he definitely didn't believe it in his heart. If someone else had entered Wanlu, how could there be no news at all? And for so many years, few people knew about the things in Wanlu Shenmu at all. The Lord of Eternal Wood must be full of many things for them. Going deeper, the statues are getting bigger and bigger, and each is very lifelike. The upper part also contains divine power. Everyone watching is very careful. Jian Wushuang also became more and more puzzled. Why has no one discovered such a real statue with supernatural power for so many years? Although Wanlu Divine Realm has always been sealed by the Gumu faction, but people of the Gumu faction, there is always a way to come in. They can wander around the periphery and even reach the edge of the inner periphery. Why didn't you find this place? In other words, I knew it a long time ago, but I couldn't get in from here. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang's eyes turned. But I didn't ask much. They walked through the group of statues and entered into a huge lava cavity. The place is abnormally humid. Water seeps from the cracks in the stone from time to time. Here, the voice of Lord Hengmu sounded, and everyone stopped. Wu Li is at the forefront, naturally sees it most clearly. In front of them, there is an altar. The appearance of this altar is very similar to the outside world. It's just that the interior is empty, and there is nothing. Jian Wushuang stepped forward, looked around a few times and asked, Senior Hengmu, does this altar need the power of life to open it? At the bottom of the altar, he felt a familiar breath, the force of life. It seems that this place is the entrance mentioned by Lord Hengmu. Now many powerful people from the outside world are heading towards this side. They don't have much time. The altar must be opened quickly. Then enter the universe of Wanlu Shenmu. The Lord of Hengmu walked directly out of Wu Li's body. But it was not an illusory thing. It's the real body. Said it is a flesh body. In fact, it is the flesh body that the branches of the sacred tree of Wanlu evolved into. He walked to the altar, took out a few incense sticks, and inserted them into the incense burner in front of the altar. After bowing twice, he turned his head to look at the crowd and said, just as Wushuang Taoist said, this place is where you enter the sacred tree of Wanlu. The channel and the switch to open the entrance are also very special. It requires innate life force. You must understand that the innate life force is the life bestowed by the origin of time and space, and the origin of the primitive universe. It has been accompanied by this since your birth life force. In fact, there is another point that the Lord of Hengmu did not raise. The life in the secret realm comes from the origin of time and space. Life in the primitive universe comes from the origin of the primitive universe. But there is another kind of life that comes from the origin of the universe of the practitioner. This kind of life is the acquired life. It doesn't have the power of innate life. After thinking about it, it should be that these people seem to be innate life forms. Chapter 5890. Both Wu Li and the Lord of Hengmu came from the primitive universe, or the 16 kingdoms of grass. The continent of the 16 kingdoms is a continent illuminated by the origin of time and space. Naturally belongs to innate life. The infinite world is also an innate mystery. It also belongs to the origin of time and space. As for Jian Wushuang, let alone, he has the power of innate life. When in Qishan Temple, several big brothers of the giant gods all said that this kind of ability is rarely seen in the starry sky. Arrived Guyu time and space. Up to now, there is innate vitality among the willows. One can imagine how special this power is. Senior, we all understand this. Let's start now. The Shenmu King has already brought people to the 10,000 Willows divine realm. I'm afraid it will come soon. Jian Wushuang couldn't help but urged. Although he successfully crossed the tribulation, he reached the 6th tribulation realm. But he also didn't have the confidence to fight against a powerful king of the 8 tribulations realm. Moreover, this Shenmu King, who has been hiding himself, might be a pinnacle powerhouse in the 8 tribulations realm. When they come, they will be able to give them an instant. He doesn't have any whole cards to fight the 8 tribulations realm now. When the Lord of Hengmu saw this, he was not talking nonsense. With one hand, he condensed some innate vitality in his hand. Follow me, as long as there is enough innate life force, we can let the altar open. Lord Hengmu finished speaking and began to continuously inject life force into the altar. Jian Wushuang followed suit. This is too simple for him. After becoming the Lord of the universe, his life force is much stronger than before. Even the recovery of a dying 8 tribulations realm to the peak is not a problem. Reaching in with one hand, a magnificent green air column condenses and converges directly to the bottom of the altar. The Lord of Hengmu next to him was astounded. His life force was not enough before Jian Wushuang. Secretly sighed in my heart, if it weren't for the treasure robbed by Shenmu King, his life force could be as powerful as Jian Wushuang. After Shenmu King got the treasure, he was no longer lacking the power of life. It's just that the treasure is not complete. The power of life that can be condensed is not the power of innate life. Not enough to open the altar. This is also the reason why he wants to capture Jian Wushuang. Mastering Jian Wushuang is equivalent to opening Wanlu Shenmu. Once the sacred tree of Wanlu is taken down, the innate life force will be mastered. Then in the end, the road they take will all be the road to resurrection. The same goes for the Lord of Eternal Wood. Although he holds the incomplete treasure, the life force is scarce, but it is the most core part that can condense the innate life force. Entering Wanlu is not for treasure either. Resurrection. This is the biggest appeal of Sanji. Emperor Bobby, King of Shenmu, Lord of Hengmu. The goal of the 3 parties is the method of resurrection within the 10,000 Willows Shenmu. Only Jian Wushuang still had those 7 tribulation realms scattering tribulations, all for treasures. Speaking of those scattered robberies, it is also for the power of life. But I didn't dare to think so big, dare to think about resurrection. In the end, only Jian Wushuang was the purest person, and that was a treasure. Jian Wushuang continued to gather the power of life. His mind power follows those life forces, and he wants to enter the bottom of the altar. But it was ruthlessly blocked. Originally, he was thinking to see where these life forces had gone. In the altar, put the life force to open the willow sacred tree. Where did this force of life go? Although it was for treasures, the current Jian Wushuang has become the Lord of the universe, the treasure of opportunity in the 10,000 Willows Shenmu, and the demand is not so strong. He wanted to know what kind of secret this Wanlu was hiding. As a result, it can be juxtaposed with the ancient moon ruins and the Wuhua secret realm to become the 3 strongest secret realms in the ancient moon time and space. They are all inaccessible to ordinary people. In the first 2 secret realms, there will be some strange things floating out of the ancient moon ruins, and they are also useful. The Wuhua secret realm has no important treasures, and it's still intact. Few people can bring out treasures in the Wuhua secret realm. Wanlu Shenmu is different, because in the ancient wood continent, it is occupied by the ancient wood faction. In addition, the treasures on the periphery are valuable but also dangerous. The most attractive thing is the power of life. This attraction is the greatest. Therefore, Wanlu Shenmu is famous in the 9 great time and space. Even the master of the 8 tribulations realm universe had formed a group to enter forcibly. But it was a pity that he was directly cut off by the restraining force when he reached the inner circle. Still the kind of Jedi Tiantong. There was no power to absorb in it, and he almost starved to death. After coming out, he dared not go in again. I'm afraid of being trapped to death. At first, there were people who suspected that the Gumma sect could sneak in. But later, as several 8 tribulations realm universe masters left in embarrassment, no one doubted it anymore. The Gumma school has also been sealing the periphery of the Wanlu Shenmu. There has been no action. Every time the election of the position of the saint, the realm of the gods will be open, but it is only at the very edge. Thinking of the saints of the ancient wood school, they need to enter the Wanlu divine realm. Jian Wushuang's thoughts also opened up. According to Shenmu King's temperament, the position of the saint is probably also to open up Wanlu. It's a pity that I haven't been able to succeed for so many years. The innate life force is so easy. The gathered life force continuously enters the bottom of the altar. However, the entire altar has not changed in any way. The incense that the Lord of Eternal Wood had just ordered was gone. After a stick of incense, his vitality was enough to bring a dying 8 tribulations realm to life. With so much life force, there is no response. How dare Wu Li say that kind of thing in the first place? He couldn't help turning his head to look at the Lord of Hengmu. It goes without saying that his eyes were full of doubts. The Lord of Hengmu was taken aback for a moment, and then explained, I don't know, according to my calculations, it should be enough. Senior Hengmu, when you first entered, it wasn't this place, right? Jian Wushuang was suspicious now. When the Lord of Hengmu entered, it was definitely not here. Otherwise, the life force will be poured into it. And when the Lord of Eternal Wood entered, he was only in the 3 tribulations realm. That little strength is enough for you. When someone believed this statement, it was also ignorance. Did not think deeply. In that special era, there are indeed countless powerful people who have flooded into the 10,000 Willows divine realm. It was also at that time that the master of the 8 tribulations realm cosmos opened the way, so it can safely follow up. This makes sense. But how to get inside? How to explain this? Jian Wushuang didn't believe in this speech by mistake. Seeing Jian Wushuang start to doubt himself, the Lord of Hengmu quickly sighed. Friend Wushuang, it is better to hold on for a while, you believe me. Entering Wanlu Shenmu must be from here. Otherwise there is no way. The life force gathered by Jian Wushuang, along the bottom of the altar, continuously entered the statues. Chapter 5891. Because he had been staring at the altar, neither he nor Hengmu felt it. It was Danbao who was on the side, who realized that something was wrong, and quickly shouted at the two of them. Those statues seem to be alive. What? This time, without any hesitation, he quickly stopped the power of life gathered in his hands. He turned around and rushed out. The outside statues have changed positions. It seems that it really moved just now. Seeing this, the Lord of Hengmu was a little anxious and hurriedly urged. Don't worry about those statues, they are almost there now. Even if they are alive, it doesn't matter, as long as we go in before they fully recover. The more he said that, the less anxious Jian Wushuang became. This made the Lord of Hengmu very anxious. He hurriedly greeted Wu Li, who was on the side, to come forward to persuade him. Brother Wushuang, this is not the time to play petty temper. When King Shenmu brings people, we will be finished. Wu Li tried hard to persuade. Jian Wushuang was indifferent, turned his head to look at Wu Li slowly, and said, What benefits did Hengmu give you? This sentence stopped Wu Li directly. The master of Hengmu is his master. When he was still an ordinary person, he picked up a branch and embarked on the road of self-cultivation. Everything that was promised at the beginning has been done. The old Wus family Guangzong Yaozu. He himself became immortal, then set up the Wu family later, and become the ancestor by yourself. All the way to the Lord of the Universe. His dream has long since come true. Now it's just to repay the favor. And he also wants to go up a step. Wu Li didn't know much about the master of Hangman's plan. But since he became the master of the universe, the master of constant wood has been instilling in him about the sacred wood of Wanlu for a long time. This matter had already taken root in his heart. If you don't enter Wanlu, you will have regrets in this life. Now being asked by Jian Wushuang, he really stopped him. Me. Wu Li turned his head and glanced at Hengmu, then at Jian Wushuang again, and said firmly, "Of course, it is to become stronger, Jian Wushuang, and we are not children anymore. Why bother to pursue too much? As long as we enter Wanlu Shenmu, my master will definitely not let you down." Choosing between Jian Wushuang and the Lord of Hengmu, Wu Li must choose the latter. Jian Wushuang was not surprised when he said this. But this kind of words have been said since the common times. Now that Jian Wushuang heard such words, he was like air. If there is no change here, he will still write some letters. When the time comes to enter Wanlu Shenmu, at worst, they will go their separate ways. But this kind of thing happened before entering Wanlu Shenmu. The sculptures outside have recovered one after another. Each is powerful. Why doesn't Jian Wushuang worry about this? In case his power of life is not the channel to get through the Wanlu Shenmu. Instead they revive the statues. That would be a big fool. Who knows what will become of these carvings? After recovery, who will listen to? On both sides of the altar and the 3 statues above it, there is at least the aura of the 7 tribulations realm, or even the 8 tribulations realm. It's not good for them to come back to life. Before the Shenmu King came, he had to die on the spot. So he didn't dare to continue injecting life force into the altar. Unless Gu is the master of Hengmu, he can give a reason, or be able to explain the current situation. There is no trace of the passage, not even a sign. Instead, carving began to recover. Hengmu, now you make the oath of your own life. Promise to take me into Wanlu. And don't hurt us people. I will continue to inject the power of life. Otherwise don't even think about it. Jian Wushuang felt the pressure from afar. And also I know it's no good to procrastinate. You can only choose to avoid risks. Let the Lord of Everwood make this oath. He could see that the current state of the Lord of Hengmu was not weak. He was a scattered calamity in the 7 tribulations realm. In terms of divine power, at least 2 million. If he was still an emperor, he might be manipulated arbitrarily by the opponent. The oath that Wu Li made back then was aimed at Wu Li. He has never made any oaths with the Lord of Hengmu. Seeing this, Wu Li also turned his head to look at the master of Hengmu, and said respectfully, "Master, why don't you make an oath first, so that Brother Wushuang and the others can rest assured?" "Shut up!" the Lord of Hengmu shouted angrily. This angry shout startled Wu Li. "I don't know why the Lord of Hengmu is so angry. It's all your fault, you bastard. You insisted on helping Jian Wushuang overcome the catastrophe. If he hadn't successfully overcome the catastrophe, would I still need to beg you so much?" The Lord of Hengmu no longer concealed himself, and changed his body shape immediately. In appearance, the original green tree man's body turned into a dark red tree trunk battle armor. The breath is also constantly improving, and this breath is no longer the power of life, but a terrifying force of destruction. After Wu Li saw this scene, he felt incredible. Compared with the master he had seen in the past, the gap was too great. For a while it was simply unacceptable. Finally, your true face has been revealed. The 2 vows are so simple, and you don't want to make them. I'm afraid you never thought of taking us into Wanlu. Isn't this place the passage to enter Wanlu? Jian Wushuang sneered. Moreover, the Lord of Hengmu didn't even discuss it, so he turned his face directly, probably because of his attention and the treasure in Danbao's body. Jian Wushuang felt disgusted when he thought of Wu Li's crotch in front of the great elder. Wu Li leaned towards Jian Wushuang with some hesitation at this time, but he was only followed by cold eyes. Balu and Danbao definitely believed in Jian Wushuang. The Lord of Hengmu sneered and said, "I wanted to use you again, but I didn't expect you to see the problem so quickly, so I just sent you on the road first." What a big breath. Bruce stepped forward immediately, his breath shook, and the divine power of 2 million exploded directly. Jian Wushuang also directly performed the super eternal transformation. Ready to go. Wanlu Shenma's plan has since become a joke. Hengmu, You don't think that you can handle us after resuscitating a few rotten fish and rotten shrimps? He pulled out the sword of myriad tribulations, and the terrifying power of the starry sky suddenly rose. This power made everyone terrified. Really? The Lord of Hungmu waved his hand and shouted angrily, "Swayehue!" Boom! The mountain began to vibrate. Jian Wushuang turned his head to look at the sculpture on the left side of the altar. The dark green stone shell on the sculpture's body began to fall off, and a terrifying desolate beast began to recover. Not good. Back quickly. Jian Wushuang took Dambao and Bulu with each hand, rushed out of the mountain, and reached the top of the valley in a blink of an eye. At this moment, King Shenmu and others also arrived. Seeing Jian Wushuang and others fleeing, the Shenmu king was not surprised but said calmly, "Where are we going to escape?" Jian Wushuang also saw the Shenmu king and the others. To provide you with the fastest update of one Dao Jian Zun, which costs money to kill the master, so that you can check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. Chapter 5891 Torn Face is free to read. Chapter 5892. The 9 Great Elders, each with 2 million supernatural powers. The 18 core elders have supernatural powers around 1.8 million. Not to mention King Shenmu. Just these people besieged them, and they all had enough to drink a pot. Now it's really over. If he knew it, he would not run away, and would fight directly with the Lord of Hungmu. He still thinks everything is too simple. I feel that no matter how bad the Lord of Hungmu is, he will be able to bring them into Wanlu Shenmu. At that time, no matter what calculations you have, you will be able to escape. But who could have imagined that the plan that had been talked for so long became a joke in the end? The Lord of Eternal would wanted to take them into Wanlu at all. In other words, Wanlu may really not be able to enter. It's just a cover for the Lord of Hungmu to come here to revive carving. All of them were fooled. Shenmu King, the Lord of Hungmu is below. He is almost entering Wanlu Shenmu. Why don't you stop him? Jian Wushuang still wanted to borrow the plan of the Lord of Hungmu to fool some Shenmu kings. Since the Shenmu king had grievances with the Lord of Hungmu, he must be aware of the fact that the Lord of Hungmu had entered Wanlu. Just let them fight first. But he just said it. But it caused Shenmu Wang to ridicule. Looked at him like a fool. This is the first time that the old man has heard such a ridiculous thing for thousands of years. King Shenmu turned his head and motioned to the few elders behind him to go down and take a look, then looked at Jian Wushuang and said, "Don't use these things to deceive a 3-year-old child. Simple, you have the complete innate life force. How can you be so innocent and cooperate with the waste of Hungmu? Why not come to the old man? Looking for you," Jian Wushuang secretly said in his heart. "Looking for you doesn't die faster. I want to roll my eyes, but dare not." The other party broke his plan at once. Just as Shenmu Wang said, "No one knows Wanlu Shenmu better than him. How could it be as simple as Hungmu said? Just go in. What does this take Wanlu? King Shenmu has been in Wanlu for so many years. I'm afraid he has already talked about it all over the periphery. I'm afraid this place has long been known. If you really want to enter from here, he probably entered long ago. Need innate life force. The big deal is blood sacrifice. Although a huge number is required, the Guma school controls so many wild worlds. Cobble together, and you can get it together. Why didn't you do this?" Jian Wushuang hated his own stupidity secretly. Before he entered, he should have thought of it. At that time, if he went to escape, there might be hope. Now, difficult. Jian Wushuang, there are 2 paths before you now. First, follow me back to the Guma sect. I can let you be the head of the Guma sect and be on an equal footing with the old man. 2. Take down the Lord of Hungmu and help me recover a treasure. I will bring you into Wanlu. There is only one chance. You have to think clearly before answering. Shenmu Wang transmitted sound to him. It means that these 2 things do not want outsiders to know. And these 2 choices are to take refuge in the Shenmu king. Doesn't that mean there is no choice? Jian Wushuang is a bit tangled. King Shenmu spoke again at this time and said loudly, "I can do the second without you, but it will waste some time, and you just waste some continuous vitality, I suggest you choose the latter, and I can make an oath to keep you safe, and you can walk sideways in Guma continent. Gu oath. This time Jian Wushuang was tempted. You can enter Wanlu Shinmu by wasting some life force. Isn't this the same as Hengma's previous plan? It's just some life force which is nothing to him. It can also guarantee his safety. This condition, it sounds, is much stronger than Hengma's. And the words of King Shinmu are also convincing. Just as he was about to agree, an astonishing breath exploded in the valley below. Boom! After a loud noise, the several elders of the Ancient Wood faction, who had entered the valley earlier, fled back in embarrassment. Following that, there was a terrifying wild beast. Zuoyehui, Jian Wushuang and Shinmu Wang said each other's name in unison. This is the statue that has just been resurrected by the Lord of Eternal Wood. King Shinmu turned his head and glanced at Jian Wushuang, and hurriedly asked, "How much life force have you injected into the altar?" This question stopped him. For a time, it can't be counted how many, can only vaguely say. It can almost revive a dying 8 tribulations realm. You are so courageous, don't you see the weirdness of this place? Shinmu Wang exclaimed Jian Wushuang's courage. He had discovered this place long ago. It was formed after the Lord of Hengmu left the 10,000 Willow Divine Realm. These statues were originally living creatures, and it is the life in the sacred tree of Wanlu. It was brought out by the Lord of Hengmu. After being brought out, the Lord of Eternal would use the altar to absorb all the vitality of these wild beasts into his body. These powerful beasts turned into statues. The plan of the Lord of Hengmu is not to enter the Wanlu Shinmu at all, but to revive these statues and seek revenge from the Shinmu king. King Shinmu was afraid of this, and immediately asked directly, "Will the right eye and the monk also recover? Is this enough?" Jian Wushuang thought for a moment. There is a sculpture on the left and right sides of the altar. On the altar, there is also a wooden monk with an open breast. These two people didn't move at all. Looking at the expression of Shinmu Wang, it is obvious that he is very jealous of these statues. Fortunately, it's just a left night ash, and the old man can deal with it. If you Yebai and the old monk both recover, then you will cause a catastrophe. It seems that your vitality is indeed extraordinary. In such a short period of time, able to revive Zuoyehui. Shinmu King's complexion recovered for a while, not forgetting to brag about Jian Wushuang's vitality. Zuoyehui rose into the sky. After floating in the air, it turned into a human form, dressed in gray, with a face like lime, his eyes rolled, finally leaking a trace of white eyeballs. Staring at the crowd for a circle, his eyes on Shinmu the king stopped. "These years, are you peeping at me and waiting?" King Shinmu nodded and said calmly, "Yes, you guys drawn out of the willows, of course. You have to be optimistic, otherwise I will cause some trouble for you, and I won't end up. Do you think it can end now?" Zuoyehui's figure was shaken, and he instantly arrived in front of King Shinmu. "I'm half talking, and am ready to do it." No wonder King Shinmu told them to step back first. The fight between the two was fierce. Fortunately, this place is God's domain. Otherwise, this place can be completely destroyed in one blow. But even so, half of the valley was ruined. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.